That keyboard's very loud.
Mm.
I don't know who that is. Is that you, Jill? Yeah.
We are live on Pop Culture Breakdown. Welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, and we have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, folks. A awful lot of stuff to talk about. No kidding. This has been a heck of a news week, and a lot of it just broke in the last day or so. So, holy shit. It's it's kind of amazing. Let's go ahead and introduce everyone around the table here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Gary Ambrosia is here at the center of the earth with me, folks. He is in his holding cell. Hail, Gary Ambrosia. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. Boy, we've got a lot of very interesting news this week. So I was having a good day until I read some of these articles. So thanks, Doom.
Yeah, well, I'm like little Mary Doomshine, and
You are.
brighten up your lives. I'm like Mary Tyler Moore, tossing my fucking helmet in the air, and I'm gonna make it after all. It's just like twirling around and fucking being spunky. I hate spunk. Remember that?
Yeah.
So do I. I hate spunk. And we have spunky Robert Wright. Hey, Rob, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
I'm doing good. Yeah, it's gonna be a great show. We have a lot of great topics tonight, so stay tuned. But also, folks, if you've not seen these 1940s Superman shorts, they're incredible. We're going to talk about them tonight. Such a wonderful cartoon, and it really gets you pumped up for Superman.
It's absolutely true. 110%. It's good to see you, Rob. And we have a victim here. A victim,
Yeah.
Sean Carter. He was, I don't know what happened.
Well-
did you mispronounce someone, and then they went ring, and then it's like dun 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 dun. No, not the bird bath, not the bird bath. Dun dun dun. I'm just guessing, but what happened?
Well, I actually I'll put it into a short story. I got in a car accident. I rear-ended somebody, and a little person got out and started screaming at me. It turned out to be Peter Dinklage.
Oh,
And he's yelling at me like, "What the hell did you hit my car for?" He goes, "I am not happy." And so I said, "Well, which one are you?"
Oh dear, oh dear,
Yeah.
oh dear.
He's an angry elf.
Yeah, he was pissed off. No, actually, I'll talk about it at the end of the thing. I fell out of my chair and scraped my face, so but I'm okay.
All right. Well, hail to you, Sean Carter, and we're glad you're okay, buddy. He's not bad. He's just drawn that way. It's good to see you, Sean. And we are also joined by Anti-Derivative Jill tonight. Hail, Jill. How are you?
It's great to be with you guys tonight talking about this stuff. It's the more things change, the more they stay the same. Anytime you think they've learned their lesson, have they really? And I guess we'll find out.
We will find out. We will absolutely find out. Let's get to we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, folks, but so it may be a little chaotic because I don't know where the hell to start, I'm just twirling around. Which one? Well, let's get to the breakdown and let's just pick one. Issue 1. Let's all right. Let's talk about something kind of weird and funny here. Before we get into, frothing at the mouth and rending of the garments and etc. and so on. So I was hanging around on X, formerly known as Twitter X, as I like to call it, just because it's a hyphenate, two great tastes that taste great together, etc. and so on. And I happened to see for the first time ever, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever, something that made me excited about the Fantastic Four movie. Fantastic Four First Steps. What the fuck? How could this be? And yet, let me show you what I saw that made me excited. Look at this. This is basically ripped right off the cover of Fantastic Four #1. This is Giganto, who was like a minion of Mole Man, and the cover of Fantastic Four #1 shows him, bursting through the street, and the Fantastic Four circling him and fighting. And I was like, well, shit, this is this. What are you doing? So it took you this long to show this? You didn't think to lead with this thing? You didn't think this was better than the Silver Surfette, and you didn't think this was better than Sue talking about family and, Ben Grimm's fucking cooking class, for God's sakes? This actually made me happy. And I even like did a tweet about it. I was like so moved. I actually did an X post, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Hell, I don't know. But I said, see, now this is more like it. I wish they started off showing this in the trailers. Harkens back to Fantastic Four #1. Who knows? Maybe after the reshoots, the movie will be more like this? He asked, hopefully, not expecting the answer to be yes. Plus, it seems better in Spanish. That's right, folks. This little clip that they showed on X was in Espanol. Los Cuatros Fantásticos. It's absolutely fantastic. And I was wondering, well, you know what? Maybe Marvel has learned something at last. Maybe this is part of the reshoots. Maybe they're going to give us some good old fashioned comic book action in this thing. But it turns out that this is not from the movie. This is a ad for Little Caesars Pizza in Espanol. See, there's a fantastic car flying by, and he's like, fuck, I'm gonna crush shit anyway. I don't give a fuck. And there they are. And who's missing? There you got Sue, and you got the Thing, and you got the Human Torch there. There's no Reed. Are you sure he's not the Invisible Man and she stretches? That's what I'd like to know. But it turns out that this is in fact a pizza ad for Little Caesars. And here, look at this. This is great. Los Cuatro Fantásticos Primeros Pasos. 24 de Julio, solo en cines. I want to see Los Cuatros Fantásticos. That seems like a lot better movie than the shit that they're trying to serve up here. That is fucking cool. Now, a lot of people were making comments about, the CGI is sketchy, and and when you see it in motion, yes, the CGI is sketchy. But my response to that was, I don't give a fuck. My response to that was essentially this, folks. This is what I posted. To be clear, I'm very well aware the footage itself looks fake and kind of rough, but I'd rather have Roger Corman level comic book movie effects that are fun and goofy rather than the soulless CGI crap like the Silver Surfette. Plus, I have a fondness for Kirby-esque monsters. So, my hopes were raised and then dashed, ladies and gentlemen. Turns out it was too good to be true. There is no such fucking beast. So I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts on? Have y'all seen this by any chance? Gary, have you seen this like little clip on the
No,
the
I
X?
didn't see it. I thought it was part of the movie, though. You're saying it's not part of the movie?
It's a pizza ad. It's for Little Caesars.
But nothing. They shot this, and they created this specifically for that. This is not a piece of the movie.
I don't know. What it said is readers added context to it. Let me read what the readers said. To this post, it said, this is sourced from an upcoming Little Caesars promotional ad and is not final footage from the Fantastic Four First Steps. So Now, maybe there's going to be some Giganto in there. But my point is, it's the height of fucking incompetence and arrogance and stupidity. If this footage exists anywhere in the movie or anything like this footage to show fucking Sue Storm namby-pambying on about, oh, family, oh, we'll face it together, and the fucking Silver Surfette, Johnny Storm being lame, and Ben Grimm's fucking cooking class, and Reed saying, I don't know if we can protect you. I'm scared and confused. Your world frightens me. It's like, fuck you. And this was out there? And I mean, the level of incompetence, the fact that these fuckers over at Disney are so not comic book fans that they don't have any idea what'll appeal to actual comic book fans. But I mean, do you know Fantastic Four #1, Gary?
I'm not really familiar with the book, no.
Okay, but this is like off the cover. And this is so much cooler.
I've seen the cover, yeah, and I love big monsters. I mean, I love
But this guy looks just like the one on the cover. I mean, they really nailed it. It's like, fucking hell. Rob, what did you think of this?
Oh, I thought it was kind of cool. I mean, the fact that they showed one of the classic monsters that from the cover, and Little Caesars also went back in time and did kind of their old timey to where it looks like 1960s Little Caesars. That's really cool. That's a cool marketing tie-in. How the heck did the marketing department get this right, and yet the stupid idiots that are making the movie got it so wrong is beyond me. It's hilarious. But I guess give them pizza and change the language, and maybe they'll actually do something. I don't know. But I mean, come on. Folks, this is what we want. The commercial is exactly what we want. Now I'm more inclined to buy pizza than I am to go see the stupid movie.
Yeah, exactly. It makes me hungry for Little Caesars pizza. Pizza, for fuck's sake. Sean, what did you think of this? And welcome, Doug. It's good to see you. Go ahead, Sean.
I think it's pretty cool. Like you have some fun involved in it. Maybe something like this will be in the movie. It's hard to say, but like Rob said it all right there. Now I want some Little Caesars, even though I work at a Pizza Hut. So,
brand disloyalty. See. Is this kind of shit? That's
you
why
know.
they roughed you up in the back room, didn't they? You said this earlier. That's what That's exactly what it
customer
is.
said. I said no cheese.
No cheese, motherfucker. No cheese. Jill, what do you think of this?
I have actually read the very first one, the very first Fantastic Four, and I thought it was really great, and it made me really love Ben Grimm. But, it is odd. Pizza Company did a ton better of capturing the spirit of the comic books than the film that has so much more money. But I think it's just because they actually want to sell pizza. What's the motivation? Because Disney because it's been a question whether or not Disney wants to make money or not.
Yeah.
Well, Disney doesn't give a
Good
fuck.
point.
They're getting money from, I don't know. It was USAID for a while, I guess. I don't know,
Right.
allegedly. And, and New World Order, the Illuminati shoots some shit under the table, maybe. I don't know. But ain't nobody like fucking subsidizing pizza. You either sell the pizza or you don't sell the pizza. And, they're fucked if they don't sell the pizza. I wish, movie companies were equally fucked if they didn't sell their movies. Doug, what did you think of this thing?
I had just assumed it was a clip from the movie, but
Me too. I
it's
was like, well, shit. And subsequently, this was added to the context, and it is apparently a pizza commercial.
it is strange that it's a Spanish commercial, but Pedro's not in it.
Hey, he's somewhere over the rainbow, and we want to leave him up there. You know what I mean?
It's a shame. I mean, there's rumors that some of the like Mole Man and Red Ghost are supposed to appear in it, probably in brief segments to demonstrate the career of the Fantastic Four before Galactus shows up. But I guess this isn't one of the scenes. I don't know.
Well, it might be. I mean, we don't know.
I would hope so, at least.
I mean, they've got the model. I mean,
yeah.
I don't really know. But my point is, why is this the first we're seeing this after the opinion of the film has been cemented, is that it's a whiny, wimpy, Sue Storm Fest, talking about motherhood and the silver fucking surf bed and the back of Galactus's head. Hopefully we'll see the front of it before the thing's over. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, and no Pedro at all.
Yeah. If that turns out that stuff is actually to a minimum in the film, which I seriously doubt at this point, then this is once again awful marketing.
Yeah, it's insane. This is the kind of shit that we want, Marvel. This is like more exciting. This is the one moment of excitement that I had in all of your advertising campaign. and you know what? I want it in Spanish now. I want to fly down to Mexico and watch it in Mexico. I don't want the English anymore. I think it'll be better if I don't understand what the fuck is going on. I mean, maybe that's just me, but Los Cuatros Fantásticos is a much better title. Much better title. So there's that. So that's kind of the good news, is that, well, maybe there's a little more to be excited about with Fantastic Four First Steps. And yet, in further evidence of the incompetence of Marvel's marketing effort, Marvel's marketing department, when they're trying to drum up excitement for Fantastic Four First Steps, which leads in to Avengers Doomsday, which is maybe going to be the most expensive fucking movie in human history, because they're desperate to reset the MCU and, get people back to going to theaters and get people back to watching their shit. What do? Do they put their best foot forward, ladies and gentlemen? I ask you, do they put their best foot forward? And the answer is fuck no. No. Meet the latest cast member to be revealed of Ironheart. Look, it's Slug. Look at Slug. Oh boy.
Hey girl, what's happening?
Hey. This is Slug, and Slug is a radical hacker who helps Ironheart to, steal from the rich, i.e., you and me, and support the community. I'm excited by this wealth redistribution scheme. But in case you didn't know, it's Halloween, and no, it's not Halloween. Slug is a drag queen. Go figure.
No shit.
Yeah, I would have never guessed if they didn't say it. But Slug is a drag queen. So you're telling me, see, this fucking thing was wrapped in 2022. They shot this thing from September to November of 2022. And then it sat on a shelf for a while, and then they said, okay, we better reshoot this fucking thing. And so they reshot it in 2024. I believe it was from February through April. Now, given that both shoots were 3 months, sounds to me like they maybe reshot the whole thing, and yet somehow Slug survived. Somehow Slug made the cut. And I'm asking, are you, Kamikaze Studio, are you trying your damnedest to basically ruin Fantastic Four First Steps and Avengers Doomsday before it even gets started? What in God's name were they thinking? If they want to say, hey, you know what, it's morning at Marvel, it's a brand new day, and we're putting our best foot forward, and by God, we're gonna make this amazing. We're gonna make this thing a return to the the Marvel of old. And then here's they them, and the name of the actor is Shea Coulee, ladies and gentlemen.
Of course.
Coulee. Not Kool-Aid, Coulee, with a accent grave or ague. I can't remember which fucking one it is. Shea Coulee says, well, they go by an anonymous name because, they maybe have a past, and and they're worried about them health or whatever. I don't know, but they say, well, they have put drag behind them. Although we do see some drag in the show. It's like, well, if they have put drag behind them and they is not integral to the plot, then why are them dumped in our fucking laps and reminding us /we of all the fucking bullshit of the last 6 or 7 years that have driven everyone away from the MCU like rats sinking the jumping off the good ship fucking lollipop when it's going down in the dum sea in the dingly dangly isthmus of suck. Why? What is the point of this? You could have released what? Hey, I got an idea. Why don't you release this shit in August? Why don't you just release it in August? What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? I do not understand. I'm not a marketing genius, okay? But I do know if you're trying to make people forget about the very shit that drove them away from the MCU and you want them to come back, don't pull out Slug. Fuck. You've already got Pedro Pascal riding the rainbow stick in that video. It's like, dude, I'm not even kidding. I feel sad for Marvel. It's like, who is advising you? I want you guys to succeed. I really do. But what in Christ? Seriously. What the fuck?
Oh my god.
Oh,
it's
like
so
Mickey
funny.
Mouse is like it is all three of the fucking Stooges and is poking his own eyes and whacking himself with the board and
what? My favorite part about this Doom is that they actually gave him a backstory talking about, I was the drag queen, but I put all that behind me. Oh my god.
So we're reformed, but we are going to show you some of the drag queen stuff for those of you that missed it. It's like Ted Koppel. Have you seen the footage with buckwheat? It's like, no, I haven't. Well,
it's an integral part of his character's history.
Oh yes.
Well, the important question has to be asked. To be honest, Doom. I mean, with all this laughing aside, I mean, Marvel's for kids, right? Comic books, superhero stuff. That's generally, it used to be a kid's audience.
Hence the
At
drag
what point
queen.
does this cross the line into adult entertainment?
Oh god. Apparently the MCU didn't get the note that they're having a no queens protest at the end of June.
Oh gosh.
Oh my god. Doom, you're wondering why they did this now. I mean, we're in the middle of Juneteenth and Pride Month. So yeah, this is like a double whammy for them.
That's going to cost this is going to cost them.
Oh yeah.
This is going to cost them.
Yes. Maybe they thought because you see the backstory is that it's former drag queen, see? And they thought, see, they won't think we're, virtue signaling again. I guess not. No. Well, this is just another example of, like I said this all along, you have a whiff of any of this in your show, movie, what have you, and it's dead on arrival.
Yeah.
Regardless of how minuscule it might be or what have you.
Yeah.
Fair or unfair in some cases, but it doesn't matter. This is the irradiated landscape that the woke have wrought.
Yeah, Doug. I mean, but that's the thing. It's like, here's the thing. If this hadn't been like rubbed in our face for years and years and years, then who gives a shit?
Right.
I have frequently recommended one of my favorite shows of all time is Banshee on Cinemax.
Yeah.
4 seasons, and there's a character on here that is kind of similar to this. His name is Job. He's a Asian man with a shaved head, and he's obviously gay, but it's such a great character. I don't mind at all. I love the character. He was fantastic. But he was a fleshed out, well-developed character that built up over time. And when you just throw shit like this, it's like chum in the rainbow colored water,
Yeah, exactly.
So
The same thing happened in Fallout. There's a trans man in the Brotherhood of Steel, and they never talk about it or point it out. He or she just happens to be there and do the things that they have to do to move the story along. And that's why, nobody really is worried about that, because it's not his whole character arc that has his character arc is actually just trying to move up in the ranks instead.
Right. But this is pandering, to the nth level. I mean, it's just like it just comes at exactly the wrong time if they want to actually make money. And yeah, see in the chat, Artfire46 says Job ruled on Banshee. Yeah, Job was fucking awesome. And Job was, not a drag queen. He was gay, but I mean, he's kind of flamboyant and stuff, but he was also like savagely cruel and, mean and really good hacker. So it's just, this is sad. Sean, what do you think of this here? Uh-oh, look.
You're muted.
You're muted, Sean. You're muted.
Sorry about that. I'm a little angry. Down here at the Tony Montana fan club and drag club, we're actually happy that this is happening. And for you to make jokes like that is just really making us upset. So we're going to be filing some complaints.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
But you should complain about those glasses. Whoever sold them to you, you should complain.
Well, they fit me well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of.
Love the hair.
Yeah, love the hair, dude.
Yeah.
Didn't I see you in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome?
Well,
I think that frame doesn't pinch at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was under a Thunderdome, making ammonia. I think what Sean was
Master
doing.
Blaster had an entirely different meaning.
Border town.
Aster Blaster.
Cool rules, Barter Town. Well, it's Slug, obviously. And I don't even know what that is in they them's ear over there, but yeah, this is this is not good. Does anyone have any? I mean, already Ironheart.
Yeah, it was doomed from the get-go. It really.
Oh, but they just made it so much worse. Doug.
Yeah.
So from the article that I read, is he actually willingly giving up being a drag queen? Because it sounded like he was doing it because he was being victimized by somebody.
Well, I
based
want
on
to
what I was
correct
reading.
you, Jill. It's not
Okay.
he, it's they, them, please.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fair enough.
So is they, them? Well, they, them is keeping it on. The quote of Shea Coulee was that they, them was keeping it on the low.
Oh.
And that's good advice to Marvel's marketing department. Maybe you should keep this shit on the low until, Pedro, you can't keep Pedro on the low because Pedro is out there. Pedro is not, he's going to fly, honey. But I got to tell you, you should keep the things that you can, the self-owns, the self-goals, the self-mutilations. You should keep those to yourself. And maybe bring them out in August or September. Maybe dump the whole series, on September 13th on a Tuesday night at 3 a.m. and just pray.
They
Maybe
should have
just
listened
pray.
to Shay and kept it on the low. Tried to tell them, but didn't listen.
Yeah, this Lolo is a Lulu, and they should have done that. What was that, Jill?
They tried to release New Trek like that right in the middle of the night when nobody's paying attention. It didn't help.
No, it didn't help. But that leads us to our next story, Jill. An excellent transition. And I'm glad you're here for this because apparently Oh, this really pisses me off. Yeah, it's and now is the time on Sprockets when we rant. So Captain Kirk, according to it's not a rumor. So Captain Kirk is back from the dead. Kirk, in all his William Shatner-like glory, is headlining a new comic that will serve as the flagship title of the Star Trek line of comics from IDW Publishing. See, every time this fucking article mentions Star Trek, it should be in air quotes. It should be in quotes like Star Trek, but it's nothing of the fucking kind. So apparently, this will be no past or glory days tales of Kirk. This will be Kirk back from the dead. As Trekkies know, the good captain died well, not for me. I never saw it. I didn't watch it. The 1994 film Star Trek Generations. So any story, screen, or comic has taken place prior to that. This tale will take place in the modern Starfleet future. No, it won't. And I'll tell you why in a minute. And he's back just in time for him to watch the Starfleet he loves so dearly burn to the fucking ground. Well, join the club, Captain. We've been watching fucking Starfleet burn to the fucking ground ever since Secret Hideout got a hold of this shit and started crapping out their fucking perverted, sick, twisted version of Star Trek. And I love it. They say launching this September is Star Trek The Last Starship, written by blah, blah, blah. Who gives a fuck? And it says, forget everything you know about Star Trek. The Last Starship is a new crew, a new era, and a completely different tone. Mm-hmm. Our aim is to be literary, intense, innovative, and most of all, accessible, says one of the so-called writers in a statement to the Hollywood
What the fuck does that
Reporter.
mean?
Oh, dear.
Accessible.
Nothing.
It means, you know,
the representation.
Well, refer back to Slug.
Boy.
Anytime they say Star Trek, you know, isn't being done right, we're going to show you how it's supposed to be done.
Sorry, Doom.
Exactly.
Sorry, Doom. Continue.
Yeah. No, look, so here's the fucking, we're bringing you into the Federation's darkest hour. Yeah, Star Trek Discovery, through the brilliant noir-soaked lens of artist blah, 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 blah. Longtime Trek fans will have a deep and fascinating reading experience, to be sure. I've never heard a fucking colonoscopy described that way, but okay. A pivotal moment in Trek history that's never been even glimpsed before. Right. Well, we glimpsed it on Star Trek Discovery, folks. This is a fucking series that is basically taking Captain Kirk straight into Star Trek fucking Discovery. The series takes place during the Burn, a galaxy-wide disaster that never happened, which caused the destruction of every active warp core, killing trillions and scattering the peace and stability the United Federation of Planets provided for 7 centuries. None of this, of course, ever happened. It was only in Star Trek Disgracery. Facing a true Wild West in space, a mysteriously resurrected Kirk, somehow Palpatine returned, will need to lead a new crew and ship in a seemingly impossible effort to uphold Starfleet's mission of unity across the cosmos. So this is basically, here's the danger of allowing cultural vandalism like Star Trek Discovery to continue and prevail, is because then it just spreads, it metastasizes through every possible element of Star Trek. William Shatner's Captain Kirk is iconic, absolutely iconic, but he is going to be soiled by being in this comic book set in the Star Trek Disgracery continuity that is fucking disgusting. So I urge anybody who loves Star Trek to stay the fuck away from this garbage. I'm going to go to Jill now because Jill is a fellow Star Trek fan, and then we're going to go around and let everybody else comment on this, starting with Gary, because he's the one that called this to my attention. But fuck this. Fuck this.
It was bad enough when they were making Discovery where they had their own actors to pretend to be Spock or whoever. At least it wasn't actually Leonard Nimoy. Putting William Shatner in here, it's already the filth, and it's even more filthy now. And well, you said blah, 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 but when he said blah, 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 they actually said 0 homework required, meaning I don't have to look at the history of Star Trek to write this because we're dealing with leading into Discovery, which has nothing to do with Star Trek. So that's why it says forget everything you know about Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly.
I just learned about this right now, and this is gross. And doesn't William Shatner have to sign off when they use his likeness, or they can do whatever they want?
No, I don't think. No, not as Kirk. Not in a comic book. No, I don't think they have to. But here, hey, you want to know how much Kurtzman and crew respect Captain Kirk? You want to know how much they respect him? They've got his remains in a fucking museum.
Yeah, Section 31 museum that was given to them
museum in Pew Card season 3. So this was the guy that so many people love. So many people are bending over and saying, "Oh, we love you, Terry Matalas. Please, can I have another?" And what did Terry Matalas do? He hung Captain Kirk on a wall like a fucking trophy. You know what? Fuck Picard season 3. Fuck all those fucking member berries. All that fucking bullshit. There's nothing really. Pop culture has been very, very seriously impacted. Every fucking franchise, just about, except Cobra Kai. But this one to me is the most egregious, just because I love Star Trek so much, and to see it just put through the ringer over and over and over again, and now some fucking pinheads are gonna put their own fucking boot in with the comic books. It really fucking pisses me off. Gary Ambrosio, what do you think about this? You sent this to me.
Well, the thing that I took away from this that stood out most to me is their quoted was saying, let's see, the new book is set to bring Captain James T. Kirk back from the dead just in time for him to watch the Starfleet he loved so dearly burn to the ground.
Yeah.
That's a direct quote from whoever the writers are, or whoever these douchebags are that are funding this thing.
Yeah.
So they've got the most number one toxic male character in the entire franchise. Also the greatest, Captain Kirk, and they're putting him front and center of their complete dissection of Star Trek. And rebuilding with what apparently they're going to be accessible and diverse, and they say it in this article. So they're celebrating. They're not only using this guy to sell books because they want people to buy something Star Trek, because people are probably not buying it, but they're going to bring him out after resurrecting him and cut his throat again.
Yeah,
this is obnoxious and disgusting. That's what it is.
It fucking is.
I think it's important that when Skydance does merge officially, and if we're lucky and they do let Secret Hideout go, it's important for them to look at these ancillary materials that put out official Star Trek media also.
This kind of stuff is what keeps fans going, or used to keep fans going. Like you're saying, those little the comic books and games and stuff like that, if they're loaded with this crap, then everything's poisoned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who wants to legitimize the burn? That was the stupidest thing.
You can't
having
even
a toddler destroy all the dilithium.
Well, yeah, and people that don't care for the newer Star Trek, they can't even go back and look for something like the older classic Star Trek that they do like. It's been tainted with this bullshit.
Yeah.
It's so obvious what their MO is. Oh, Kirk, you're taking Kirk, you're resurrecting him, and you're putting him in a world where you completely obliterated the Federation in Star Trek as everybody knew it. This is not your dad's Star Trek, basically, is what they're saying. And they're going to rebuild it in their own image.
Yeah.
No homework required.
That's not political. Wow. Talk about propaganda. But anyway, William Shatner's the one that tweeted this out, and he just said something funny like, I think you misspelled Last Starfighter. It just says LA Starfighter. Which was pretty funny. That's the way I found this. But anyway, yeah, that's I'm pretty sickened by it.
Yeah, I was absolutely sickened by it. Rob, what do you think?
It's disgusting. Forget everything you know about Star Trek. The Last Starship, it's new crew, new era, and completely different tone. Well, hey, you know what? Star Trek hasn't been Star Trek and the original tone in 20 years. So there's nothing to forget, really, because it's all been shit. And you're making it even worse. I mean, you're destroying everything the Federation stood for, everything that Gene Roddenberry wrote, everything that he established. He established the utopian society of Earth, the hope that mankind had. It was our hopes and dreams, and it was about exploration. This is more doomsday shit and crappy stuff that they're just bringing a character to sell comic books in so they can write more of their woke dystopian bull crap. It has nothing to do with Star Trek. This is just garbage, plain and simple.
Yep, 100%. Sean, what did you think about this? Anything to add?
Same. The shame thing is the shame part is I'm looking at this artwork is pretty interesting. I mean, I like the picture of Kirk and everything. It's neat. And it's really too bad. I mean, they could have done something cool with this, but we're gonna get more of the same. You know, what did you guys think of the artwork? Did you take a look at it or?
No, I mean, I got to clean the vomit off of my screen, before I, I projectile vomited on there. I'll wipe it away and take a look at their little pictures. But you know what? Anything that is in that universe is a non-starter.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's a shame. I mean, if they want to have some more adventures with Kirk, make a little story where he's kind of back from the dead or put it in year 5 or something. Just there's a whole span of years of Kirk being alive. They could have put him in something, but no, they had to do this.
They absolutely did.
Yeah.
Tom, it's good to see you, man. And welcome Mexican Iron Man. Hey, Mano, you made it.
Mike, you followed me here?
No, I was backstage since 8:24.
Oh, shit. I didn't even see you, Mike. Shit. I'm sorry, dude.
So good. I was watching you guys melt down. It was pretty entertaining.
Well, we're going to get to you in just a sec, buddy. I'm so sorry. I did not see. Did you send him? They have fucked with. They have fucked with the programming here. It's acting different in this environment, and I didn't see you, dude. I'm so sorry. They have fucked with this. Doug, what did you think of this shit?
It doesn't surprise me. IDW is a terrible publisher. I mean, their other Star Trek comics introduced non-binary Vulcans.
Yeah. Oh God.
So and also another element of it, as bad as the Byrne story was, it's done. And Kirk had nothing to do with it. So it's lazy Vulcans? Crap. Yeah,
that's illogical.
Well, they said in the dialogue, no, it's illogical not to accept multiple genders.
I thought we were going to forget about everything that happened in Discovery.
Well, they don't want you
to. As far as I'm concerned, they're not Vulcans; they're Vulcans at this point.
Yeah,
in that series. And besides, there is no Vulcan in that series. Now it's called what? Nevar?
Yeah, Nevar.
Yes. Which they stole from a novel. But
anyway. That's so sweet. You know what? As in, I'm Nevar going to acknowledge Star Trek Discovery is worth a squirt of piss in a rainstorm. Fuck you. Fuck you. Mike, what you love Captain Kirk? Are you there, Mike?
Oops.
Uh-oh. Mike stepped away. Let's go to Tom. Tom, what do you think about this bullshit?
I know very little about this. What is it, a comic book?
Right.
Yeah, it's like some fucking comic book that's gonna be basically bring Kirk back in the Discovery milieu.
I mean, did Shatner sign off his likeness rights years ago? Because damn. I mean, yeah, honestly, Star Trek doesn't have a very bright future. I hope it did or wish it would, but like Skydance is part of the problem. They're the ones that produce those damn JJ Trek movies. They may get rid of Kurtzman, but as I said in the chat, David Ellison, I think, is legally retarded. And I think he's going to do nothing but screw up once he takes over Paramount. Because, yeah.
Is that any relation to Harlan?
No, I'm sure
No,
it's not.
yeah.
No, I can't remember who his dad is, but his dad owns.
I guess
Sky.
then he wouldn't have been retarded then if he were. Never mind.
Well, let's not use that word, okay?
Sorry,
Kelly?
but yeah, I was just joking.
Understood.
but-
I was
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's just
reflecting.
not. All right. Mikey, what do you think about this?
Man,
Larry is his dad, but yeah,
wait, Larry, what?
Larry Ellison.
Larry
is-
Ellison.
Oh, I'm not very hopeful in this. I'm in the Tom camp. You know, I'm not at all hopeful or positive about anything related to any of this. And I've seen all. Unlike my brother Tom, I've actually watched all the Star Trek that we've gotten, and I've been following everything happening at Paramount pretty closely. I think it's a shame that Paramount and Warner Brothers aren't being received more favorably by the stock market for a variety. I mean, they should be. I think if they maybe had a little bit more cash, maybe they could do some more things right versus, burn what little cash they do on, spending money in the wrong ways. So I don't know. If it were me, I would call William Shatner and I would do a hard reboot that would directly tie to everything original while he's still alive. Because if they want to keep this thing going, Star Trek for all of us, and they want to, give us something that we'll actually watch versus all this like U-Track crap. I mean, when I saw the trailers, I just puked. I literally just puked. It was so stupid. But that's what we need to do. We got to do it before he's alive, because when he dies, all that we know and love of Star Trek dies with him.
That's true.
And nothing can save it. Not Sundance, not any producer, director, showrunner. That would be one hell of a beautiful way. It's that feeling that we got when we got that short movie last year. Remember?
Mhm.
That feeling, that was, last time I had a feeling like that was maybe The Mandalorian, when we were here on this show.
Yeah.
It was a unification.
Yeah, unification. That feeling, I was on cloud 9 for 24 hours straight. I felt great. Then I see some crap like this trailer come out, and I throw up. It is the worst of the worst of anything that I've seen them put out. And that's just the trailer.
Yeah.
You're going to watch this season?
What, of Suck New Worlds?
Yeah.
Well,
I'll do it.
I'll do it with Nilsson.
I'll watch it.
It's only
I'll watch
6
it.
episodes.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
be
yeah,
really?
yeah.
Only 6?
You don't even have to. I'll do it.
No,
That-
we should at least watch the first one, for God's sakes, even though it's let's just riff on it and rip it apart, but this Captain Kirk shit, I mean, we all love Captain Kirk and William Shatner, and the fact that these clowns can make this happen, it really makes me sick. This is awful. It's just fucking awful. And I don't know what else to say about it. Does anyone else have something to add to this? Because it's pretty awful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I just learned about it. I don't think I'll be reading this.
No.
No.
So yeah. Let's. What else have we got? There was a bunch of these little stories that we
have the Hollywood Reporter's opinion on the original print of Star Wars.
Yeah. Let's
that.
go ahead and do that real quick, because this one seemed really suspect. So you have to understand the history of this. Apparently, a long lost original print of 1977's Star Wars, the real Star Wars, was recovered from an archive and screened for a group of cinema aficionados and diehard fans. An audience was finally permitted to watch the first released version of the film, nearly perfectly preserved and unfaded, that creator George Lucas famously suppressed from being publicly shown on a big screen for 47 years. The British Film Institute event was introduced by Lucasfilm boss Kathleen Kennedy, who joked that the screening was not illegal. What you're going to see is, in fact, the first print, and I'm not even sure there's another one quite like it, Kennedy said. It's that rare. So first of all, the fact that this happens and Kathleen Kennedy swoops in to be there for it is very suspicious to me, because I suspect the only reason that she was there is she knew damn well that George Lucas would not want this to happen. That it rots George Lucas's ass that there even is still out there, the original film, the unspecialized edition, one that the world fell in love with back in 1977. So in a way, I have to suspect that Kathleen Kennedy being there was like, oh, well, you know that George is going to be really, really pissed off about this. So I just wanted to be here and shit all over this. You know what I mean? Like kind of get in there, get the dig in with old George, right? Gleefully saying it's not illegal, and we're gonna show you this. And George, he didn't want this to be seen anymore, etc. And so on. So there's that. Okay, there's that aspect of it. And then the next day or two, there's a slew of articles, oddly enough, in the mainstream media where we know KK has a lot of contacts, saying an attending film critic from the Telegraph who attended the screening last week admitted the unaltered original looks terrible by modern standards. While fans understandably tend to focus on Lucas's most intrusive creative moves, adding the jarring CG version of Jabba the Hutt, having Greedo shoot first, stuffing distracting CG creatures and droids into Mos Eisley, the amount of subsequent polish and tweaks over the years is so extensive that many aspects of the original look just as noticeably fake as the egregious CG. And this guy says, I felt like I was watching a completely different film. Wrote Robbie Collin, whoever that is, who called the print a joyously craggy, grubby, stolidly carpentered spectacle that looks more like fancy dress than grand sci-fi epic. Every scene had the visceral sense of watching actual people photographed doing actual things with sets and props that had been physically sawn and glued into place. The slapstick between C-3PO and R2-D2 looked clunkier and therefore funnier. The Death Star panels were less like supercomputers than wooden boards with lights stuck on.
Time out. The line before that, reread that again about C-3PO and R2-D2.
The slapstick between C-3PO and R2-D2 looked clunkier and therefore funnier.
He didn't alter that at all in the special editions. What the hell is this guy on about?
A fucking clown. He's a fucking clown. This is bullshit, Tom. It's bullshit.
Well,
he said,
yeah.
It felt less like watching a blockbuster in the modern sense than the greatest game of dressing up in the desert anyone ever played. Fuck you.
Well, they're talking about how the sets look like wooden boards with Christmas tree lights in them.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't change any of that.
No, he didn't.
What the fuck is wrong with these people, man?
Well, hey, see, that's the thing. It's like a twofer from KK, isn't it? Where she goes there, where the very screening of it is something that will have George rolling in his grave, except he's not dead, but kind of. And then two, then make sure that the next day there's a flood of opinions out there and it's plastered everywhere that Star Wars looks like shit. That it basically looks terrible. It suffers from the translation. Star Wars looks terrible in screening of long lost original 1977 version is the headline. So, you know what?
We might be seeing a live action Twitter war playing out between Kathleen Kennedy and George Lucas.
I don't know. I think this is just a 1-2 punch, dude. That's my gut feeling.
It could be that, but like the whole thing with like, it feels like, okay, so they did this sanctioned screening, because guys got to understand, like, this is a big deal. This is like a 70 millimeter first run print of Star Wars that has been kept in very good condition since its initial release by the BFI. Right. So this was taken care of. This should be one of the best ways you could see this movie now.
Yep.
Wow.
And the way that this guy's coming after this almost feels like George said, you know, that stupid screening they did of that movie? Here, write an article about how crappy it looked and how much you prefer my versions. That's what it kind of feels like to me in a weird way. But like Kathy, at the same time, I could see the 1-2 punch as well. Like this screening was going to happen. It was a big deal because they've been talking about this for a while now. And yeah, because that's the whole thing is this guy is just making shit up, if you ask me. Because I've got 4K 77 right here on disc.
Yeah.
and they look beautiful. So I don't know what this guy's even talking about here. So yeah.
This is
You know
total
what?
bullshit, dude.
Yeah.
To Tom's point there, you know what I think is, like, if we think back, we got to remember there's been a lot of people who are trying to tear down the original trilogy. They're trying to say, you know, it doesn't matter. Everything that Andor did is what was really important. This is just another poke at, oh, look how crappy it is.
Good point.
That's what I think that might be part of what this is.
Yeah, and then he throws in this. Both reviewers noted, however, that the theater burst into applause when Han Solo shot first during the Greedo confrontation. Han Solo
Let me
was
correct
much
that.
cooler. I'm just
Han
like,
Solo is the only one who shot. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, Greedo, the way they did it. I mean, Greedo needs glasses. Get Greedo some glasses. I mean, it goes like, I don't know where it hits. It's like,
That and Solo's got fancier moves than Michael Jackson in that shot. That's all I know. Because
Right.
Yeah.
That shit was so
Shit,
stupid. It's literally like
so
dumb.
so fucking awful. It's so fucking awful.
And I watched the 4K version. I have the discs, the 4K versions of the most recent special editions, which would actually be like edition 3.0, guys. George has gone back and messed with these now 3 or 4 times
Oh my God.
in the last 2 decades. And in this version, they are so sterilized and so and this is probably what this person, if this is genuine, this is part of the problem with digital film, shooting things digitally and scrubbing the grain out of everything, because they look so horrible that there's actual detail that's being lost in how much George scrubbed them clean of grain. And then he took what was beautiful, like, filmed matte shots and stuff, and he still framed them. So you can see like the floating still grain in those shots. And I'm like, this looks like something some kid put together on their fucking computer.
Yeah.
Like, how can you say this looks better than the old classic optical effects is beyond me. I
Right.
don't understand. And yeah, Gary knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Because like there's even just little details, like if you'll notice, like when all the stormtroopers come in the opening shot, like if you watch the 4K 77, you can see all the beautiful rivets and detail around the doors frames and everything like that. You watch the Disney released 4K Star Wars film, you can't see the rivets anymore because it's been so washed clean. All you see is white, right? So like, that's what I'm saying. And people may think it looks quote unquote clearer or cleaner, but you're sacrificing detail because they're just scrubbing out the grain is all they're doing. And that George is the biggest. He did this to American Graffiti too, and I about threw my Blu-ray.
Oh, are you serious?
Yes, he did it, and it looks like ass.
Come
Now Willow looked okay, but I think that's because he doesn't give a shit about Willow. I haven't watched Howard the Duck yet, so I can't speak to that one. But the other problem I'm worried about Howard the Duck is in Howard, he was experimenting with VHS optical effects. So like, I guarantee you there's some shots in Howard the Duck that look like dog shit. And he probably went and upconverted them with 4K somehow. And I can't imagine what come out of them, because the prequels look like ass too. Because this is the other sad part about the prequels. He shot those on digital video, and those are stuck in forever 1080p. So all he did was upconvert them.
Oh,
Oh my God.
And added like and everything's kind of softer looking. So yeah, it's
Oh
Seriously?
my God.
That's
So-
very fucked up, dude.
Wow.
yeah. So if anybody who has 4K 77, go, it's out there, guys. It's not that hard to find. That's the best way to enjoy these.
The fan edit, it's beautiful. I watched it recently.
Oh my God.
There's the despecialized edition. I think that's what you're probably talking about, which Harmy did, which
Yes, it is.
combines a bunch of different versions. So the main difference between that and the 4K is the 4K is a straight, from a 35 millimeter scan of the films, and they're cleaned up a little bit, recolor timed. But what Harmy did is actually rebuilt the movies with the same kind of technology that George used to destroy them.
Yeah.
He used to put it back.
Wow.
So yeah, so like if you want that version too, which it just all the work that he's put into that, it's worth checking out. I have those versions as well, but yeah.
Yeah, Harmy's despecialized editions are pretty damn good. Let's see. Rob, have we gotten to you yet?
no, but man, this is awful. everything you're talking about, Tom, is why you love Star Wars. I mean, the graininess, just that first scene, seeing the blast point where the stormtroopers coming in, it makes it feel like it's lived in. It makes it feel more real. And when you clean it up and make it pure white, it takes away the illusion of any kind of reality. And this is why we want special effects to be practical, and you don't need as much CGI as everybody's putting in all these movies, because it makes it feel less real. It makes it feel more fake. And I don't think you need to do this to these movies. Star Wars is a classic. The original's great. There were some aspects of the special edition, especially the background stuff, that were okay that he cleaned up, but a lot of it is stupid crap that didn't need to be in there, especially the Mos Eisley stuff and the stuff with Greedo shooting first and some of the other stuff. The whole Jabba scene didn't need to be in there. We already knew what was going to happen with that, but we can't see the original. We need to see the original. And folks, I'm in favor of bringing the original back, because I want the original grainy one. I want the one I saw as a kid. I want to see that again, because that's what I fell in love with. That's what I liked. That's what I enjoyed. That's what made Star Wars, and what made it fun.
Yeah, I agree. Sean, anything to add?
No, just like Rob said, like I grew up, my dad got a hold of a VHS copy of the movie in 1979, and I played the hell out of that thing, and I loved it, and there was nothing wrong with it. These people that are saying this stuff, it's ridiculous. And the author of that article, later on at the bottom, he goes, yeah, this is when Star Wars was released in 1981. So the guy obviously doesn't even know when it came out. And so I think 81 was the last time Kathleen had a cycle.
Who knows? Jill, what do you say?
Well, so I don't get why. Well, I do understand why, because George Lucas really hates what he made, and that's unfortunate that he does, since so many people love it, and the groundbreaking practical effects are why they love it. And yet, I wish it would be allowed for Star Wars fans to get the same thing that we have with Star Trek, which is we've got a Blu-ray of the original series that has the Star Trek as it was originally aired in the 60s. Plus the remastered version, and while you're watching it, you can switch between the two, which would be really fun. I think Star Wars fans deserve that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll never get that. But Doug, here's what Lucas said. Lucas, over the years, has been rather firm about not screening the original, and when asked in 2004 by the Associated Press why he doesn't simply release the original version along with the special editions, he rather grumpily shot back, well, special edition, that's the one I wanted out there. The other movie, it's on VHS if anyone wants it. I'm not going to spend we're talking millions of dollars here, the money and the time to refurbish that, because to me, it doesn't really exist anymore. It's like, this is the movie I wanted it to be. And I'm sorry you saw a half-completed film and fell in love with it, but I want it to be the way I want it to be. I'm the one who has to take responsibility for it. I'm the one who has to have everybody throw rocks at me all the time.
Unbelievable. Sorry you saw a half completed film. No, sorry we paid for a half completed film, right, George?
Yeah.
William Friedkin brought this up and this is a beautiful argument. If you ever have a chance to watch this, it's on, I believe, all the releases of Exorcist. It was actually the impetus for the re-release of The Exorcist, where they added in the new ending and all the other extra little bits, because it's got William Friedkin and William Peter Blatty arguing over the film. Because William Peter Blatty is convinced that the audience thinks the devil won because he didn't have the original ending in that very important scene during the exorcism. And Friedkin just starts getting all pissed off, and he's like, you know what, we'll re-release the movie, and you can sit there in the theater and tell everybody as they're leaving, the devil didn't win. He's like, the movie's out, it's done. And he's like, you can't re-release it, it's done. People have seen it now. It's just like when, I can't remember who it was, but he mentioned some famous artist, and I've looked up the story, and supposedly it may not be true, so it doesn't matter anyway. But the story supposedly goes that this artist was caught in the Louvre fixing up their painting after it had been hung in the Louvre, and they got arrested for it.
Isn't that Dali? Salvador Dali, right?
One of them, yeah. I can't remember if it was Dali or somebody else.
Do that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, it was like they're arrested, and the cop who was like, they let him go, but as they were letting him go, they're like, why are you messing with? He's like, well, I wanted to fix it up. He's like, it's done. It's hanging in the Louvre. That's the thing. Star Wars is already hanging in the Louvre. It is done. You can do special editions. Lord knows, as much as I give shit to Ridley Scott,
He's done 5 different versions of every movie, but guess what the difference between him and George Lucas is? All 5 of those versions are available on disc when he makes a release. George, on the other hand, likes to pretend that the version that everybody fell in love with no longer exists. This same hypocrite, as much as I love George Lucas, he is a hypocrite for doing this. He stood in front of Congress and fought for the rights of preservation of film and to be and so they won't be destroyed by future generations, and then he turns around and destroys the work of how many other people. Yes, you may own Star Wars, George. Yes, you are the producer, but you didn't even direct Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Good point. That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, for you to go back and destroy those films the way you did without allowing us to have some sort of, and I don't give a shit how much you think it costs, because guess what? It doesn't cost you a dime anymore, George. It's on Disney's dime. And I'll tell you one thing right now. If all you had to do is sign off and say, yes, you can do it, Disney would make so much money if tomorrow they would announce for the first time ever, you're going to be able to either buy digitally or on disc in 4K pristine the original theatrical release of Star Wars Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi with no alterations whatsoever. They would be the highest selling discs of all time, hands down. And that's why George don't want it, because he does not want to have to admit that he is fucking wrong. Because I don't care what anybody says. Yes, you can enjoy some of the changes, but at the end of the day, the son of a bitch is hanging in the Louvre. We've all seen it.
That's right, damn it.
You can change it all you want, but we've all seen what it originally looked like.
I know, really, and that's really the one that's the only Star Wars for me. Doug, anything to add?
Yeah, everybody keeps trying to fix Star Wars to increasing diminishing returns.
Yes.
So good luck. That's it.
That's it.
The operative word here is done. And there is no more Star Wars. I'm sorry. I wish I could say the otherwise, but there isn't. And this is just, kind of throwing salt in the wound and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember what you used to love before we fucked it 10 ways to Sunday? Yeah.
Hey, we're going to fuck it again. We got some lazy idiot writer with his marching orders. Can't even get the date right. They look really clunky. Yeah, they're clunky in all the, you idiot. But okay.
Well, Mexican Iron Man, have you got anything to say about this, dude? Or have you
he's got to be there.
I think he's got on a call again.
Okay, I saw that he had typed in the chat, so I thought he was back. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, folks.
He would call this guy an idiot.
Yes.
Yes. Well, he fucking is an idiot.
What makes me mad about this more than anything, Doomcock, just to kind of finish up, and I'm sorry for dominating this conversation, is that, because film preservation is a big deal to me, is that I could care less about what this asshat thinks about this, because you know what? So what? The 50-year-old movie looked too old-timey for you? Aw, fucking too bad. To me, it's like, yeah, next thing you're going to do is bitch that Citizen Kane is in black and white, right? Like, what the hell? Like, go watch fucking Transformers and shut up. Yeah. Like, that's about where I'm at with this guy. But the problem is the Hollywood Reporter, Variety, all these other bigger papers now are giving this asshat attention.
Right.
And this is what makes me wonder, is somebody behind this like George, or maybe even your theory that it may be a double whammy from Kathleen Kennedy setting up, let's remake the Star Wars trilogy. There could be a lot of things at play here. And she saw an opportunity here, and or he's just butthurt and they're having a big Twitter war right now. Who knows?
Could be
but
all
at the
of
end
the
of the
above.
day, it could be all of the above. Yeah. But yeah, I wish they wouldn't have give this guy more attention, and we wouldn't even be talking about it.
Yeah, I know, but it's so fucking outrageous.
Because this initiates from the Telegraph, actually, is where it come from. But yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'd sure like to be able to see that movie the way they saw it. I'd love to see it in its original format. They're lucky.
Yeah,
bro.
Pearls before swine, apparently. Pearls before swine. All right, let's go ahead and get to some of these super chats here, shall we?
Hey.
All right, folks. Thank you all for your patience. Let's see what all of you have to say about the proceedings tonight. Warachi with a $5 super chat. Hail Warachi. He says Gary's ration for the day: lamb shish kebab, Greek style, grilled veggies, lemon roasted potatoes, warm crusty bread, flaming Saganaki cheese, and Hella's beer. Shit, the prisoner's eating better than the jailer.
Oh my
This-
gosh, that sounds great.
Son of a bitch. Here I am with my sandwich. Fuck you. Hail to you, Warachi. I may have to intercept that and steal it. Susan Dolan's been a channel member for 55 months now. Hail, Susan, and says, I'll hail Overlord DVD Wrenches chat and panel. Hail to you, Susan Dolan. Great to see you, Susan. Evan Peterson's been a channel member 22 months at the Dumentite level. Hail to you, Evan. He says, this week's recommendation, Fire and Ice from 1983. A movie I found on a list of animated films that aged poorly. Made me want to watch it. Yes, a Ralph Bakshi movie with some design work by Frazetta, if I'm not mistaken. Hail to you, Evan Peterson. Good recommendation, sir. Let's see. Walter Tomaszewski with a $4.99 super chat. Hail to you, Walter Tomaszewski. Says DC, Philip has graduated from sneaking snacks to actively extorting Doritos and chicken from the neighbors. By applauding him last Friday, you may have accidentally contributed to the delinquency of a cat. I'm sorry, Walter Tomaszewski. Thank you for the two $4.99 super chats. We really appreciate it, my friend. Hail to you and that darn Philip, I tell you. Oh dear. He's getting around. He's learned capitalism. Evan Peterson with two $5 super chats. Hail to you, Evan Peterson. Evan says James Bond news. They're starting with a video game. It's called First Light and features a just out of the Navy Bond. Uh-oh. In the Navy, you can sail the seven seas. Uh-oh. Is this going to tie into Ironheart? Is this another slug video game? Hail to you, Evan Peterson. He says, it is supposed to be closer to the books. All right. It sounded very promising until I got to the end of the article. Another black money penny, another female M, and he says with a $20 super chat, and a Q with a cravat, a pencil mustache, and an uncanny resemblance to Baz Luhrmann. And I'm out. In a related manner, I hope you do Diamonds Are Forever soon. Jill St. John is my favorite Bond girl. She's hot. Hail to you, Evan Peterson. Dude, thank you for the two $5 super chats and the $20 super chat. Really appreciate you, Evan Peterson. God bless you, Evan. Thank you, sir. We appreciate the support and the warning about James Bond First Light or 007 First Light, whatever they're calling it. And we got some additional potential James Bond news that we're going to be talking about here in the next hour. Trevin Lane with two $20 super chats in a row. Hail to you, Trevin Lane. Thank you, Trevin. Trevin Lane says, hail DC panel and chat. Important news from the legal world of all places. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled unanimously that DEI is discrimination. Oh, holy shit. Woo! This will hopefully start to end those DEI hires in pop culture. He says there's been a victory against Gearbox Studios as they have backed off of the $80 price attempt for Borderlands 4 and are delaying the game to polish it. And Stellar Blade sold over 3 million copies on Steam over the weekend. Holy shit. Well, this is actually great news about the Supreme Court. They've ruled that DEI is discrimination. Shit. Did any of you guys on the panel hear about this?
Hadn't, but that is great news.
Yes, I did. Yeah, it's true.
What? So this is absolutely true?
Yeah, and I mean it always was in accordance with the law. You cannot discriminate on gender, race, religion. And
yeah,
they clearly were, I mean, when you're emphasizing one over the other and that sort of thing, you're supposed to, concern your hiring decisions based on merit and talent.
Jesus. Well, this is fantastic. I mean, this is a milestone, folks.
Yes.
Jeez. I guess we're gonna have to work that into the discussion because this is like the biggest shit. This is like the news is just breaking all over, folks. This is
Sounds like a song.
I know.
Breaking all over.
Oh, things are swell. Things are great. I mean, it's just fucking amazing. Wow. All right. Well,
Yeah.
holy shit. Thank you very much for breaking that bit of news, Trevin Lane. We certainly do appreciate it, sir. And Jackson Cagle with a $2 super chat says, "Hail, chat." And I say, hail to you, Jackson Cagle. God bless you, Jackson. Scott V with a $5 super chat. Hail, Scott V says, "Hail, Doomcock and panel. I'm hearing from others that after a Star Trek Suck New Worlds, Kurtzman wants to reboot the original series. Please, for the love of God, no. Live long and prosper." Well, Scott, yes. They want to, but I have not heard any indications whatsoever that they will have any opportunity to do that. I think that's basically a load of bullshit.
No actual plan. I think it was just Akiva Goldsman saying we could do this.
And we should do this. What do you say, gang? Through popular demand, should we go ahead? It's like, no, asshole, no. That's the last fucking thing in the world that Star Trek needs is you clowns after you've already like sucked every opportunity that you've gotten to turn over the original show to you. Why would anybody want to fucking do that? Les Moonves maybe because he hates Star Trek and did his very best to destroy it. But anyone that actually wants to make profit, actually loves Star Trek, to turn the original series over to these fucking clowns. You've seen what they've done to Spock in Suck New World. You see that they've turned William Shatner as Captain Kirk into some mild-mannered, low-level government bureaucrat, shoe salesman, fucking, I don't know, door-to-door encyclopedia peddler or some shit like that. This guy is the very definition of Mr. Mediocrity. Fucking smarmy nothing that's being lectured to by, the Captain Pompous door over there, Captain Puke. They should never, ever get even close to that shit. Helena Clark has been a channel member for 7 months at the Doomentide level. Hail to you, Helena Clark. She says, turned another year older today. Well, happy birthday, Helena Clark. Happy birthday, Helena Clark. It says, to my dismay, I think one of Harvey's relatives paid me birthday wishes. Now I have a Shoggoth on my roof. Oh, dear. You know what? I know some Shoggoth removal services. I'll shoot them to you. You can go ahead and get that damn thing off of there with very little cost. Very little cost. All right. Is this one of your scams, Harvey? Yes. I mean, no. Okay. So Helena, be sure and Google whatever company he sends you. It could be a scam. Trevin Lane with 2 $10 super chats in a row. Thank you very much, Trevin Lane, and hail to you, sir. He says, there's a reason why animation is better than live action for superhero movies. You can use a few more qualified but older actors. You have a better special effects budget. You don't need to build sets. Voice actors that age out can be swapped more easily. There's no DEI worries in voice casting, and you can reuse assets. It can be as mature as you want it to be. And he says, fun fact, with another $10 super chat, he says, the name of Little Caesars is a nickname that the founder's wife had for the founder's anatomy. The name of the third largest pizza franchise is a dirty joke in public about the founder.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, that's sweet, actually.
That I did not know. Pizza. Shit. I've got a little Caesars, a little stuffed guy that they were giving away from Little Caesars back in the day, and I guess he does look a bit like that. Shit. Now I'll never be able to unsee that. I'll never be able to see that. Clive Griffiths with a £5 super chat all the way from the UK. Hail, Clive. Clive Griffith says, hi, DC and the gang. I've not been live for a few months. Hope all is well. We are hanging in there, Clive. How are you been, my friend? Hopefully you've been okay. Just busy, but living life and living a good life out there. Good to see you again, Clive Griffiths. Thank you for being back here, my friend. We really appreciate you. And Jack White with a $5 super chat. Hail, Jack White says some upcoming games to look forward to: Metal Gear Solid Delta, Dying Light, The Beast, Ninja Gaiden 4, Persona 4 Revival. Thank you very much, Jack White, and hail to you. And thanks to Trevin Lane, who is a producer on tonight's Pop Culture Breakdown. Trevin Lane, we appreciate you, sir, very, very much. Also for the Pizza trivia over there. And SFX F314 Sabertooth Raptor with a $10 super chat. Hail to you, oh, saber-toothed one. He says, I would rather watch Pop Goes Elmer Fudd cartoon and other Looney Tunes in a loop than Fantastic Four, Iron Who Cares, Star Trek Strange New Whatevers, and the wonderful accounting adventures of Mexican Iron Man. Oh, is that an option? Can we watch the amazing accounting adventures of Mexican Iron Man? That would be kind of cool. I might actually tune in for that. And Glenn Schroeder renewed their channel membership at the Dominion level. Hail to you, Glenn Schroeder. We really appreciate that. And Andy Morrow gifted an Overlord DVD membership to this channel as well. Thank you very, very much, Andy Morrow and Glenn Schroeder. And Old Man Bird with a $9.99 super chat says, babe, we can't eat supper yet. Anti-derivative Jill is on the panel. So you've got a fan, Jill. You've got a fan.
Oh, yes. Hello, Old Man Bird. Great to see you.
Old Man Bird is awesome, as is Andy Masterson, who has swooped in to join us. And somehow we lost Tom on the way. I didn't get to say goodnight to Tom. I'm sorry about that. Tom Connors Jr., we appreciate you popping in here, my friend. So, some news about James Bond. Can anyone, I forget, was somebody going to brief us on this?
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is playing him, right?
No, no. Although you could easily mistake it that way. Who looked this up? Was it you, Sean, or what? Oh, Sean got it.
Yeah. So there we go. This is Aaron Pierre, who is rumored to be playing James Bond. Now, I was reading the article, and it does say that it's just a rumor. They're just talking to him about it. But it's been rumored ever since James Bond: No Time to DEI. But as you can see here, we've got a stunning and brave looking potential character. I don't know anything about this actor. Apparently he's pretty good, but I'm not getting Bond vibes from him. But you never know. I really wanted to see Cavill.
Yeah. Everyone did, but to quote Robert Stack in Airplane, no, that's just what they're expecting us to do.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but there's really very few details. It's all over the internet and everything, but it's just, he's just being considered for the role. So it's hard to say.
He's being considered one of three people, but they haven't released the other two names that they're considering. So maybe this is a trial balloon to see how much shit Bond fans will eat, are prepared to eat. And the answer is zero fucking shit. Yeah. Zero fucking shit. Maybe if you'd have tried this, 7-8 years ago or something, maybe there would have been some novelty and not some kind of gag reflex that any of this woke shit, any of this DEI shit just makes me gag instantly. Fuck this shit. This is a non-starter for me.
And you just pointed out something that I was thinking about, is that if they did choose this guy and he was just a masculine, straight out of old Bond, woman, play the field, got the women, everyone would love it. It would have no problem with what he looks like. I really don't think they would, but I don't think they would do that because they need to be able to play that card and explain why something didn't do well. It's just ingrained into them.
Yeah, well, I'd have a problem with it regardless. It's you know what? Some things just stop fucking
Yeah.
messing with. Stop taking things away from the people that have loved this franchise forever.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, then why not have him be a woman? Why not have him be of color? Why not have him be a chihuahua? Why not have him be a fucking tree that can talk? Why not have him be Mr. fucking Ed? Fuck you. You know what? This is a British character from the 1960s, and represents a very, very specific thing. And you know what? If you want to have a secret agent of color, have at it. Make a new one. Don't be pissing all over our franchise.
He is at
I'm
least
just so
British.
fucking sick of it.
Make
Yeah,
him
it's got to be
008 or
fucking British.
009, or he could be another 00.
Yeah, why not? Sure, that's perfectly fine. Gary, what do you think of this story?
I think it's fantastic. I can't wait to watch this piece of shit.
Yeah. I'd rather see him as Mr. Ed.
Yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm sorry. I mean, what else is there to say?
I don't know. I'm just disgusted. I'm just disgusted. It's like, you know, if you could just like interchange all these characters and, you know, and they're just gender fluid and they're, you know, sexually fluid and, you know, it can be, you know, nationally fluid. Why not have an American James Bond? Why not have a, you know, Chinese national James? Fuck you. You know what? There's very few things that define James Bond as a character. And when you rip out a major one like this, and you're not making James Bond at all, go fuck yourself. I will not watch this. I will not watch a frame of this. What do you think, Rob?
I agree with you, Doomcock. I mean, you know, the last Felix Leiter, they made him a black guy, and I was perfectly fine with that. He was a good character. They did a good job. He was well acted in the first Daniel Craig James Bond movie, but that was the only good one. You know, the problem also is it doesn't really matter what color or who the next Bond is. If the writing's still this woke crap, it's not going anywhere. We want our original Bond the way he was written originally, and we want a new story with him that's actually good, that's actually well drawn out, and a good plot and a fun spy movie that we can go eat our popcorn and enjoy.
100%. And this is just another reminder that, you know, Hollywood is just scoring political points on us at our expense, and they expect us to just buy into this shit. And sometimes you just have to say, no, I will not. The line must be drawn here, no further. What do you say, Sean?
I agree. Yeah. Can we just have a Bond? And like we said, Henry Cavill, I think a lot of people were pulling for him and hoping. Not going to get him.
No,
I don't think we're going to get him.
Probably not. Jill, anything to add to this?
Well, does appear that at least he is British. He was born in London, but I have just started watching James Bond, a rewatch, and I made it through Sean Connery, and I'm going through the 70s right now. So I just finished Moonraker. I'm having the time of my life watching these. So I just have to reflect what Sean says about, like, if they just made him masculine, have him romance lots of ladies, have a, you know, some maybe off-color humor that maybe is just a little racy. Yeah, a lot of James Bond, they make lots of innuendos that are just hilarious because diversity isn't necessarily woke. It's just we've been just so beaten down by it that we assume it is. Anytime we get anything like this, so it's not really our fault that we do that. I would love for this to be good. It depends on who they actually pick and everything, and I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. But the odds of the matter are not in its favor.
No, absolutely not. Doug, what say you?
Yeah, stop doing this. You know, I talk about, you know, the whiff of woke you get fairly or unfairly will doom your project. And the race swapping of characters and gender swapping and all, it's got to stop. Just stop doing that. And stop doing this to black people. You know, just tossing them hand-me-downs from white characters and that sort of thing. No. You know, there's plenty of original characters and whatnot. You can have all kinds of characters in a Bond movie, but the characters are set. You know, the main ones you see all the time. And that's fine. But And especially now, after the woke era, like I said, the irradiated landscape is just a cold business move. This is stupid. Nothing against the actor. I'm sure he's a fine guy. He can do a lot of good work and all of that sort of thing. But the characters are what they are.
Yeah.
And, and again, it's just insulting all the way around. Nobody wins here.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. Andy Masterson, what say you, sir?
I was born a poor black child. And Steve Martin was probably the last one that could get away with that back then with that movie. And here's the thing with this. It's like it's all stunt casting. It's all they see these people as not as people, but as points that they can just mark off on a checkboard. If I want to make a story about how tough it was for me to grow up in the early 1900s when my parents were former slaves, everybody would yell like, well, you can't do this film because it's not authentic and you're not like, and this is the problem with them. The race is unimportant. It doesn't matter if we cast someone of a different race. But at the same time, they're not saying that like that other elements of that aren't important. So it's like they want their cake and eat it too. And it's clear what they're doing with this. It's just it's 4 points. It's for like the BlackRock points and things like that. They can get more money on another funding thing somehow. But they're not doing it out of authenticity. Every time they say, oh, they were the best actor for the job, bullshit. If that were the case, why wasn't Al Pacino playing Harry Potter? Because
yeah, right.
I mean, like he's a better actor than Daniel Radcliffe, right? He should have the part. He's the best actor for the job. Hell, Anthony Hopkins, why isn't he Hermione? But this is the problem with it. They talk out of both sides of their mouth. That you can't have it both ways. Race for them is both the least important and the most important thing, and they plug it in whenever they want it to be. If race were no problem, like you're talking about England, what's England famous for? Food with no flavor and a bunch of white people. Okay, you're going to stand out. You're not going to be like you're talking London. Okay, you know what? You're not going to notice a white guy in London, and you might not notice a black guy in London. You go anywhere else in the UK, they're probably going to stand out. Hell, I mean, I think Scotland is 96% white. You're going to draw attention. You're supposed to be a spy. How can you be incognito and not draw attention to yourself if you're the only guy that everybody notices? It's like, and especially now because it's like you've created this environment where if you don't just automatically accept this stuff, you must be racist and all that stuff. Like, which, come on, cut me a break. Now I live in the Northeast where we've had diversity up the ass for like decades and all that. 100 years or better. Like you can't swing a dead cat around here without hitting somebody like multicultural or whatever. And you know what? Everybody gets along just fine. Yeah, you get dirtbags of all shapes, colors, and sizes like that. And these idiots don't understand that you have a franchise. What you're really looking for with that franchise, and they won't fund anything that doesn't have this credit to it, that doesn't have this hierarchy to it, this history, because they want the inherent audience base that's in that. And then you change the thing that's going to alienate that very audience base that you're looking for. In the idea that somehow all these new modern people, well, guess what? They're not interested in this because they don't understand it. The differences in the generations are so huge now. I mean, hell, I've got, my daughter is 23 years old, and I can't keep up with the slang changes. Whether it's what was dabbing and how old that was, and we used that term last week. That's over now. It's like it happens so they can't identify with half the jokes that are in Bond. Like Joe was just saying, all the innuendo and stuff like that. Most of these kids are going to be like, huh? What are you talking about? because we've dumbed down the audience severely. It's gotten to a point where, like, we watch Casablanca. We've talked about this a number of times. Like, all right, so Humphrey Bogart kisses Ingrid Bergman. The scene pans out. The next scene, she's in like a pajama kind of outfit. I wonder what happened to the modern audience if you didn't see that pounding and hammering on screen. It didn't happen. I didn't see that. Like, we've dumbed down an audience to a point where, like, you're not going to get half the jokes, and all this stuff is just stunt casting, and I guess it's going to take every single one of them to fail so completely. It's like Kevin Feige. He's got all this stuff going on here, and if they didn't say that, like, we've learned our lesson, we've course corrected, and this is what they give us, you're like, really? I mean, everything is so on the nose. You got the Ironheart series coming out with the guy who's the mentor guy there is like, his name is something Robbins, and his code name is Hood, Robin Hood. Wow, how clever. That's just so, I never ever would have thought of that. They write themselves into these corners. They're going to make this, and there's going to be unintended consequences to all this. You know what? Let them do it. As far as I'm concerned, Daniel Craig wasn't Bond, a 5'10" Bond. He should be tall, dark hair, handsome, all that stuff. Like, you've killed the franchise already. You've alienated so many people, and no one's going to trust you. Look at the MCU, the highest grossing franchise that ever existed, and everybody's walking away from it, not even going back and giving it a chance. They don't have a shot in hell if they do this.
No, I agree. Any other comments on this before we move on? All right. Well, it's nice to know that we can still get some truth being told in Hollywood, and James Gunn's bringing it, folks. James Gunn had a big interview in Rolling Stone where he talked a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of things, stirred up a little trouble apparently. But the article was titled, "James Gunn Says Marvel Was Killed by Disney's Corporate Mandate." This is off of Cosmic Book News. It's Matt McGloin, a good friend of the channel. And he summarizes this information in this article. He says, James Gunn is taking notes from Marvel's downfall, and he's making sure the same thing doesn't happen at DC. In a new interview with Rolling Stone, which kicks off the article noting the currently shaky Marvel Cinematic Universe, Gunn said Marvel's problems in recent years weren't entirely their fault. According to him, the studio was forced to pump out too much content under Disney's orders. Quote, over at Marvel, they've been pretty open about the fact that they realized what's gone wrong over the past few years. They put out too much stuff. This was what Rolling Stone said, and then Gunn replied that Marvel producer Louis Esposito told him privately the studio was under a corporate mandate to deliver more movies and shows than they could realistically handle. He says, Louis said that privately to me. I don't even know if it's really their fault. That wasn't fair. It wasn't right. And it killed them. Now, when James Gunn said it killed Marvel, he had to issue the following clarification. He said, to be clear, and as is clear in the context of the interview, I didn't say it killed them like they're over, but they were screwed by the situation they had no control over. They're on the other side of that now, which is good. The sacrifice everything for streaming craze killed many good things by forcing a demand for content that couldn't possibly be met, putting movies on TV before they had a proper theatrical run, and much more. The insanity has died down and balanced out everywhere, thank God. But the point he was making is DC won't follow the same path. He said, unlike Marvel under Disney, the new DC studios doesn't have a quota to meet. Each DC product will be treated as a one-off opportunity that has to earn its place. He says, we don't have the mandate to have a certain amount of movies and TV shows every year. We're going to put out everything that we think is of the highest quality. We're obviously going to do some good things and some not so good things, but hopefully on average, everything will be as high quality as possible. And one of the things that he's said specifically, folks, and this is what I want to talk about because this is something I've been saying forever, is that the reason why Hollywood is in such deep shit is because they keep putting out projects that don't have finished screenplays. And that almost goes without saying, but he had to say it. He said a lot of shit in this interview, and it just goes to show you it's another reason why I really like James Gunn, because he tells it like it is. On the one hand, I feel sorry if Marvel, was under this mandate, but for God's sakes, I think these writers just suck. I mean, I understand that this is like, putting out some excuses and stuff, but honestly, I couldn't possibly write anything as bad as what I saw in She-Hulk or, Agatha All Along or, Echo, or, I mean, even on a rough draft basis, I would never write anything that bad. And it's just like, how much time do you need for this shit? You don't need that much time to write it. The problem is in the scripts. I think he's absolutely right. These scripts are not finished, but it's also that these scripts suck. And I guess he can't say that it sucks, that these writers suck, but that's my take on it. Doug, what do you think about this? All this stuff about, his analysis of the situation and how he's not going to do this on DC.
Well, the aspects that he covers sounds pretty spot on. He's omitting the politics of it and everything, but okay, fair enough. Yeah, the saturation of content and whatnot did a lot of damage, but they were all bad.
Yeah.
So it's like, even if you had left it just to the movies, those movies were all bad. And then it's like, well, crappy writers. Yeah, that's true. If only there was, like, I don't know, a vault full of source material where your basic plots and characters are already done for you. You got to change up a few things for time constraints of a movie or whatever, and that sort of thing. Sure. But it was there. And then, of course, what was their other mandate? Hey, we don't want anybody who's familiar with Marvel Comics. Why would you do that for, I don't know, a Marvel movie? So, yeah. So, there's up and downs and good and bad about Gunn, about how he's handling this, and that aspect that he's saying, yeah, you need a script, before you begin. I think he did indicate that they killed a project because the script just wasn't up to snuff, or couldn't go forward with it, or what have you.
Right.
That sort of thing. They're not going to make it up on the fly and on the, and that sort of thing. 11th hour changes and what have you. That's all very good. The other problem is he keeps praising Tom King, and that's a massive red flag for this going forward. But nevertheless, just on the basics of movie production and whatnot, there's no argument against him. He's absolutely correct.
100%. I mean, Tom King, from what I understand, is woker than a speedball sitting in a cup of coffee, right?
Right. I mean, he missed his calling. He didn't get to be a part of Bad Robot, but he would have fit in perfect with that.
He would have been perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
But hey, the good news for him and Damon Lindelof are teaming up for the Green Lantern series. All right.
And that is dead. That is dead on arrival.
That just, when I heard that, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Damn it.
The logo for that should be like a naked toe shot low angle with a tag on it that says lanterns. Just a foot. The tag that says lanterns, because Tom King and Damon Lindelof, it's one of the worst fucking ideas ever made by human beings. And hail to Casey's Creepy Creations out there in the chat. It's good to see you, Casey's Creepy Creations. Gary Ambrosia, what say you about this whole script situation? I mean, you agree with me that if it's not in the script, then forget it.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't shoot a movie without a finished shooting script. That's why they call it a shooting script, because you can't shoot without it. Hey. Yeah, if you don't have a plan, like, you can't build a house without a blueprint. Where do you want the window? Somewhere over there. Okay, how big is it? However big you feel it should be.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that with a movie script. You have to, you have to have a plan.
Yeah, it's
I don't
100%.
know,
And I do you have any sympathy for all these Marvel productions that somehow sucked because they just had to work on it too hard and too fast?
Sympathy? What is that?
Yeah, exactly. Do you feel it excuses their shoddy work product?
No. What? Are you being sarcastic?
Uh,
Am I too tired for your sarcasm tonight?
Oh. It's just so weird. It's like, he look, James Gunn, he can't say the truth that a lot of these writers suck and can't write their way out of a wet paper bag,
Right. But he doesn't really need to because we get it. That's why he's doing what he's doing.
Exactly. But he is saying it didn't help that they had to crank out so much product over there.
No,
I think that's what he's talking about.
I think it's kind of, hypocritical that he's speaking from DC. They're saying, oh, we don't have a mandate. And, DC made worse crap, than fucking Marvel. It's like, well, what the fuck is your excuse, pal?
Yeah, but they buried Batgirl.
Well, yeah, but he's like, that's before I got here.
That's
yeah,
true.
exactly.
And they
Right.
did Deep Six Batgirl. So I mean, they've made some good choices and they canceled something where the script sucked. I understand now,
That's
Yeah.
good. That's a good thing. I mean, I understand once you get, once the wheels are in motion, you can't really shut down a production, but you shouldn't have the wheels in motion when you don't have a fucking script.
110%. Rob, anything to add to this?
well, remember, after Endgame, their idea was that they were going to go with the MCU, and Captain Marvel and a few others were supposed to be their premiere stuff, and they were supposed to take it in a whole different direction. And what did it do? It fell flat on their face because the characters weren't what we wanted and weren't interesting enough to really carry a franchise. And so everything fell flat, and they came out with DEI woke BS, and they didn't focus on good stories, like Gunn is saying, and it just blew up on them, and they haven't gotten it back yet. And that's part of the problem. It's all these mandates and all this other stuff. It's not that they're pushing so much product; they're pushing so much woke product on us that we're sick of it and we're done. I mean, they took a perfectly good show in Daredevil and ruined it. In this latest thing, I mean, there were a couple of good episodes, but most of it, when we reviewed it, was bad. They took some other stuff. I mean, the only good thing they've had since Endgame has been the last Spider-Man movie, and that wasn't even all of Marvel Disney. The rest of it's just been crap, one crap show after another, and it's because they're focused in on all the woke stuff instead of actual storytelling. It's all this BS stuff. And Doomcock, you've also reported on all the scrapbooking. Look at all the scrapbooking that happened with the latest Captain America movie. I mean, give me a break. Your Gun is validating what you've already reported.
Yeah, which is kind of makes me happy when you get right down to it. It shows that old Doomcock's still firing on all thrusters. Sean, anything to add to any of this?
Yeah, I was reading that, and those weren't just shots fired by Gunn; those were 80mm shells launched at Disney. I mean, it was all fluffy and nice, but what he said is like they can't write a good story, they can't put stuff out, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. And I did notice he aimed it right at Iger and Feige, and I think the reason he did that is because he's probably seeing what we're all seeing is Marvel's downfall. There's going to be a lot of unemployed people in there. And I think he was trying to say the blame is up there. And maybe he's trying to get what good talent is remaining at Marvel to come over to DC. I don't know. Just my little Seanology on that. But that was a brutal thing that he said. I mean, it sounds nice, but that was something.
It was.
It really was something.
I guess maybe he didn't leave on the best terms. Jill, any thoughts on this?
On this particular story, all right. I promise I'm paying attention. James Gunn was saying, well, basically he's just speaking gospel here, right? Things that we already know, things that you talked a lot about, about how in various productions people are shooting without knowing what their story even is, making special effects and shooting scenes and not knowing where the hell they're going and just putting it together where they can, and also combine that with putting agenda over good storytelling and hiring writers that are activists first and everything, and it's just something that we used to have like one or two writers who would have one specific vision that would be really amazing, that they can actually give us a unique story that we'd actually want to go see because it's something different, and we just don't have a whole lot of different. It just seems like a whole lot of cookie cutter stories where a whole bunch of people get in a boardroom and say what should the audience want versus what we actually want.
Mm-hmm. No, that's very true. That's a good point. Andy, anything to add to this?
Yeah, these people get into these positions and they hire their friends who also like to walk into bathrooms and smell poop. And they all get together and they hire their other friends that like to smell poop. And they don't recognize that the majority of people don't like to smell poop. And when they get in there and they start to make these movies and scripts and everything, then you get people like Larry Fink, who thinks he's going to change the world and transform everyone because he perceives like he's got the idea of nobility, and he runs BlackRock, and BlackRock invests in everything, and Vanguard, and they invest together, and he has all this money to spend. And so you're starting off with, you fire all your good writers in favor of the people that like to smell poop. And then they go in there, and now they're getting all these points that they've got to plot into the story to make sure you hit this one and this one and this one and this one. Okay, now go and make a good story out. The best writers couldn't do that. The good guys couldn't do that. How in the hell do you think that these poop sniffers are going to do this and make it something that the average person's going to enjoy? It's, they jump through these hoops, and Gunn is kind of saying without saying it, well, they put too much out. No, they didn't. There's too many boxes you've got to tick. There's not enough talent, and you've got to make it all mesh together. They're wondering why the Thunderbolts failed. Most people didn't watch Black Widow. They didn't watch Echo and all this and see, Jesus, we can't even get a freaking code name for Bucky and Yelena. We've got to we have here's Red Guardian and Bucky. Can we give them a freaking code name? How about let's call her White. Well, I guess we can't call her White Widow. How about Beige Widow? we can do Beige Widow. Okay. Give them a code name so we can put it out there and Feige gets out there, and Feige's sitting there. All he's concerned is, figuring out some way, allegedly, that he can get in there and sniff Brie Larson's bedroom slippers, because that's what he's after. Casting her as Captain Marvel and putting her in the forefront and making all these characters female. And then he adjusts course, and now we get the amazing Sue Storm and her somewhat fantastic friends, and the Silver She-Girl surfer. And so he's not learned his lesson. I don't know what it takes. I can't comprehend the amount of money that must be in this thing so that they can spend this, they can flop this much. They can cost this much money, and they still have jobs. People have criticized Doomcock and everything about reporting on rumors he heard that Kennedy was going to be. In what universe besides this can you make so many flops? You can destroy the golden goose that was the high point of merchandising, where the real money's made. She destroyed it all over and over and over again, took the biggest property and rendered it into crap, and still has a job. It's astonishing to me that there must be some kind of flow of money coming in there where these shareholders are like, gee, my stock just dropped another $10. Now I'm $20 million lower. It's okay. They know what they're doing. I don't understand the concept here, but Gunn, I think, is trying to point a finger at this without saying the things he can't say, but also at the same time, maybe pointing away. Because I think Gunn, in his heart, he's an artist. He likes to make things. He wants to make stories and tell stories. And I think he would like better competition out there. He was in the Marvel universe and he wanted it to be the best it could be. And I think he still does. I think he wants his industry as a whole to be better. And I think that's what he's kind of saying with this stuff. But until you get the boardroom out of the creative decisions, and this is the problem. Like, we had the old studio system where you had, the Alan Ladd that would take a chance on Star Wars. You don't have that anymore. Now it's just these people, these money guys that are sitting there making all these decisions. And our focus groups say this is really popular. It's like that. What's the name of that Parrot Analytics? The more times your thing is mentioned, the more popular it is. But that's not true. I mean, you can, if suddenly, like, there were the internet was populated with Rosie O'Donnell's nudes, nobody's going to rush to that and say, I gotta have that. Just because it's mentioned a lot doesn't mean it's a good thing. And I think that's the problem that, like, the Gunn is pointing to, that he's saying, look, you've got a fire over here. Go and look at it. Whether they'll do that, if they haven't learned it by now, I don't think they're going to.
Yep. No, that's a good point. So yeah, Gunn's laying out some truth there, some harsh truths to Disney. Hopefully they listened. We got one more thing to get to before we get to the super chats and the movie or little movies that we're going to talk about this week. Gary Ambrosia, you say that heavy metal is rising again.
Yeah, it is. I backed it on Kickstarter, and check it out. They sent me a cool pin set.
Ooh, cool.
Isn't that neat?
Oh, wow,
nice.
Yeah,
Cool.
Classic movie heavy metal pin.
Yeah.
So I was pretty excited about that. So apparently they're starting to ship the first issue, which is cool. So as soon as I get it, I will let you know.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how do they, sustain the spirit of heavy metal moving forward. Hopefully it'll be the same.
I'm pretty hopeful. It's looking pretty good from what I can see. It's looking good.
All right. All right.
Yeah, nothing DEI about it yet. So
thank God for that.
Yeah.
Thank God for that.
So Netflix isn't doing Tarna.
Sweet.
It'll be the dude from Ironheart.
Excuse me, the they them.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's right.
Excuse the holy dog shit out of me.
I know, exactly. Exactly. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get to some more of these super chats here. All right, folks, let's see what you've got to say here. Solly Tom with a $5 super chat. Hail, Solly Tom. He says, I found a Winston Churchill quote that fits good old Disney Bob. A fanatic is one who can't change his mind and won't change the subject. Interesting take, Solly Tom. Hail to you, and thank you for supporting us here on Pop Culture Breakdown, sir. Wayu Hatan with a $5 super chat. Hail to Wayu Hatan. Says, with everything that's going on in the world and entertainment now, if you don't hit the button soon, Harvey is going to miss out. I know, man. FOMO. I get the fear of missing out. I want, if there's going to be, stomping and ruins and everyone perishing in flames, I want in. How do I get in? That's what I want to know. Any ideas? Any ideas? Well, we'll keep brainstorming on that. Harvey Cthulhu, thank you, sir, for that. City Zen 1999 with a $2 super chat says, Fantastic Four will be terrible. Well, yeah, it ain't looking good. Although, if more of it is like this, Giganto footage and less of it is like Silver Surfer and, Sue, talking about family and pregnancy and shit. Maybe it'll be better than we think it will. Maybe the reshoots will bring it out in a better place. I hope so. I really do. It would be nice to sit through a movie I actually like instead of, one that I'm obliged to see and suffering through. Nathan Robinson with a $5 super chat. Hail, Nathan. He says, hail to an all-star cast. Thank you, Nathan Robinson, and hail to you, Nathan. Thank you, sir. Steve Surfaro with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Steve. Says Agony Booth or Chekhov Earworm for Ellison Kurtzman. Agony Booth, I think. Agony Booth. I think they've already got earworms. I think there's got to be an excuse why these scripts and everything suck so bad. I think the Agony Booth is the only option available. Hail to you, Steve Surfaro. That's such a cool name, Steve Surfaro. I just hear Miserlou playing every time I read it. Hail to you, Steve Surfaro. Nicholas Horton at Justice for Rebecca Edge Runners who's been a channel member of mine and arch villain for 64 months now. Hail to you, Nicholas. He says, hail Doomcock and panelists. Gundam 0079, Gundam Stardust Memory, Zeta Gundam, ZZ Gundam, Char's Counterattack, Gundam Unicorn, Hathaway's Flash Movie 1, Victory Gundam, Gundam Wing, After War Gundam X, and Iron Blooded Orphans. Holy shit. Nicholas Horton is joining Jack White as a Gundam fan. Hail to you, Nicholas Horton, and thank you very much for that, sir. God bless you, buddy. Deez Webos. He's been a channel member for 50 months. Hail to you, Deez Webos. Says, best modern Star Wars are the Hayden Monopoly ads. Really? The Hayden did some Monopoly ads for Monopoly, Star Wars branded Monopoly. That's kind of sad. But probably rather accurate, sir. I will not dispute that claim. Jack White, our resident anime manga expert with a $10 super chat. Hey, Jack. He says, series recommendations, 8686, Sword of the Demon Hunter, Rascal Does Not Dream series, Rurouni Kenshin 2023, Our Last Crusade or The Rise of a New World, The Angel Next Door, Spoils Me Rotten. Damn. I'd like to have an angel next door that spoils me rotten. That'd be pretty damn cool. Hail to you, Jack White. I like it. Sir. And we'll see if we can't track those down at some point, sir. Saul Shymek with a $5 super chat. Hail, Saul. Says, computer game recommendation, Era 1 beta, an upcoming spiritual successor to the Homeworld space opera series, feels like 1 and 2 and ignores 3. I've never played those games. Homeworld space opera series Era 1 is coming out. I trust Saul. He's a good guy and he knows his stuff. Hail to you, Saul, and thank you, sir, for that. Casey's Creepy Creations with a $10 super chat. Hail to you, oh Casey Osowski. He says, hail, master panel and chat. What Lucas seems to forget is that very few people have VHS anymore. He didn't forget it, Casey. Actually, that was snark. That there was shit that George Lucas was handing down to us. He doesn't give a fuck if we see Star Wars or not anymore. Certainly not that version of Star Wars. He could not give less of a fuck. So that was basically a little fuck you straight from George Lucas to us. It's kind of sad that, somebody that I idolized as a kid for creating one of the most amazing things out there turned out to be such a kind of a ungrateful shit. I mean, honestly, it's sad that George Lucas has become such a dick. Well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Dan Ramos with a $5 super chat. Hail, Dan. He says, well said. Have some cash. Thank you very much, Dan Ramos. Hail to you, Dan. It's good to see you, buddy. We really appreciate that. And Bun 299, an arch villain of mine with a $10 super chat. Hail to the Bun. He says, you cannot hope to go from the future ruler of Earth to the present ruler of Earth until you master the Xanatos Gambit. Watch Gargoyles. Also, Watch Freenan Beyond Journey's End. Yes, I have been told. I've never seen Gargoyles, and I've been told that it's really, really very good. So I need to watch some. I need to watch some Gargoyles, for God's sakes. Never watched a single episode of it. Just completely flew under my radar. Sigvaldison, the high priest of the cult of Harvey, with a $5 super chat. Hail to you, Sigvaldison, says, wokeness and horrible writing is the disease. Harvey Cthulhu is the cure. Do the needful DVD. Push the button. Thank you very much, Sigvaldison. I also like if you'll have the little, like, Harvey Cthulhu emoji there and then people kneeling in supplication. I love it. Hail to you, Sigvaldison. Hail to you, Sigvaldison. And Jack White with a $10 super chat and a $20 super chat. Hail to you, Jack White. You are looking like a producer tonight on Pop Culture Breakdown. And Jack White is laying out a few more titles. You may want to take a pencil and take some notes for those of you who don't know a lot about anime but want to get in it, because Jack knows this stuff. $10 super chat and a $20 super chat, 2 in a row. Jack White says, Eden Zero, Full Metal Panic, Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Bleach, More Than a Married Couple But Not Lovers, Tonikawa Over the Moon for You, Astra Lost in Space, Black Clover, Berserk of Gluttony, Blue Exorcist, Demon Slayer, Hunter x Hunter, Solo Leveling, World Trigger, Wistoria, Wand and Sword, Cowboy Bebop, which I have seen. It's absolutely fantastic. Classroom of the Elite, Bungao Stray Dogs, Death Note, which is also good. I've read the manga, though I haven't seen the anime. Eureka 7, Tokyo Revengers, Psycho Pass. These are all good, folks. Jack knows his shit, and he's passing this on to you. I don't know how he's watched all of these things. I really don't. I mean, it blows my mind, Jack. You really have plumbed the depths of anime and manga, sir. Much respect. Summer Horse with a $5 super chat. Hail to you, Summer Horse. Adds, the Supreme Court also upheld state bans on medical and surgical trans treatments of minors. 3 dissented. I don't know which ones, though. Well, there you go. Some interesting stuff being handed down by the Supreme Court. I did not expect this. London 19657 gave a Overlord DVD membership to this channel. We've got 4 new members tonight, thanks to generous folks like London 19657, and I really, really appreciate that, sir. I've got a rant coming out about this Hollywood reporter bullshit and Star Wars tomorrow for all you channel members. Every week, I try to put out a brand new, uncensored, and demonetized video exclusive for channel members, and that one should land tomorrow, knock wood. That's what I'm aiming for. Hail to you, London 19657. Redwood the Elf with a $5 super chat. Hail, Redwood the Elf. He says, hail Doomcock. Did you get your copy of Harmony Gold's dub Robotech yet? Yes, I did. I got it. It's a beautiful set. Really complete with the movies, everything, man. It's fantastic. He says, might I suggest a pop culture breakdown of Robotech once you've had a chance to get in? Well, I'd have to see who else on the panel has seen it, but I certainly will give you some feedback once I get into that. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I have not seen any Robotech, dude. So this will be a brand new frontier for me, and I want to thank you, Redwood the Elf. You, sir, rock. Sean with a $5 super chat. Hail to you. Sean says, movie suggestion, Overlord, Team America. And some nuts for Sabu. Thank you, Sean. Hail to you, Sean. Panel, is there any way that we could possibly ever review Team America?
Hell yes.
I mean, could we show anything? I guess there's a frame here or there we could probably show.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Matt Damon.
It'd be a challenge.
It would be a challenge, guys. But it's possible. It's possible. All things are possible if we believe hard enough.
It's just puppets.
Yeah. Try telling that to YouTube.
It's just Barbie sex, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob wouldn't have to bleep anything out.
Were you saying that you've got to head out, Doug?
Yeah, afraid so.
Okay, well, go ahead and plug away before we get to our movies that we love. I thought you might want to stick around for them because Superman.
I wish I could. Yeah, it's a cool thing. Max Fleischer Superman, groundbreaking.
Kind of a high watermark, really.
Yeah, very. It's, and all kinds of elements there. It's really great, and then good enough. They're available everywhere. So
that's true. That's true.
So you can't miss it. You can follow me at Mr. Nailsin on X, and you can find more Nailsin goodies over at the nailsinratings.locals.com. And of course, you can watch my channel, the Nailsin Ratings, for all kinds of reviews about the subjects we discuss here. And in the meantime, why not head over to indieplanet.com and get your hands on copies of my comic book, Night Night. Oh boy, look at the happiness it's brought, Rob. You're thinking, I'm missing out on happiness. Well, wait no more. Head over to indieplanet.com and order your copies of Night Night today.
Thank you very, very much. Yes. Oh, and he's going crazy, folks. I think he might have rabies. Can you get rabies from the comics?
No.
Okay.
Herpes, yes.
What?
We don't know where those comics have been.
Yeah. Submit a proof of purchase for your free penicillin.
We at Night Night Productions do not condone these comments whatsoever. However, all sales are fine.
Well, thank you very much. Doug, we appreciate you, buddy.
My pleasure. Have a good night, everybody.
You too,
Later,
buddy.
Doug.
We'll see you next week.
Doug.
All right. Let's get to some stuff that we really, really love. So tonight we are going over the Fleischer Brothers Superman cartoons, and these are amazing. Do we have the images? I don't know if we don't have them up right now, but this is a hell of a thing. I really, really love Superman, and I particularly love these cartoons. I think that these are some of the best cartoons ever made, honestly. And I only wish the way that they were shot is kind of like a little noir, honestly. And I just think, boy, a Fleischer Brothers Batman would have been absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It would have that would have been the creme de la creme. But as far as this goes, Superman is fucking awesome. The Fleischer Brothers are awesome. They did the amazing Popeye shorts as well, and two of the Technicolor Popeye ones, Sinbad and Alibaba, are legends.
Mm-hmm.
So Gary, this is a little challenging in that there's a lot of these shorts, but
it was.
I thought just doing a little like general talk about just the process and how it went. What did you find out about this thing?
I found out a decent amount. So yeah, we'll go ahead and start. Fleischer Studio Superman. The studio was founded in 1929 by brothers Max and Dave Fleischer and was known for creating the short films of Betty Boop, Popeye, Bimbo, Coco the Clown, and Superman based on the comics by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Max Fleischer, during his time at Bray Productions, pioneered the animation industry with his Out of the Inkwell series and his invention of rotoscoping, a process where full 24 frames animation is rendered by tracing over a live action subject. I didn't know that he invented them. I didn't either. That process. That was fascinating. After Bray went defunct, Max joined his brother Dave, and the two began producing cartoons together and would become a major competitor for the Walt Disney Company.
Wow.
In 1932, the Silly Symphony short cartoon Flowers and Trees, produced by Walt Disney, won an Academy Award, which started the demand for color cartoons. This made it difficult for the Fleischers to compete because, thanks largely to Paramount, Disney held the exclusive rights to the 3-color Technicolor process.
Wow.
Locked them down. The Fleischers were able to compete once again with Walt Disney when they purchased the rights to that famous one-eyed sailor. No, not Ron Jeremy's Barnacle Bill, the other one, Popeye, and his premiere in Popeye Meets Sinbad the Sailor in 1936. The spinach-eating, speech impedimented sailor actually became more popular than Mickey Mouse. That is until the release of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in 1937.
Wow.
By the late 30s, Fleischer Studios was producing an average of 1 short a week. Paramount Pictures, the Fleischers' distributor, became more demanding after Popeye's success, which boosted the work demands and resulted in the very first labor strike in the animation industry and resulted in the forming of a union.
Wow.
After their relocation from New York to Miami, Florida, the brothers went into production on their first feature-length animated film, Gulliver's Travels, a project they had been pushing Paramount to produce since Snow White was released. Gulliver's Travels was a huge success, earning $3 million on only a 1 month in only a 1 month release in just 60 theaters, making back 6 times its production budget.
Wow.
That's incredible.
That's amazing.
And keep in mind how much the tickets were back then. Well, I mean, this is what, 1937? What were they, a nickel?
Yeah.
$3 million. That's amazing.
Jeez.
Despite their financial success, Max and Dave's relationship was beginning to fall apart. By the end of 1939, they were not speaking to each other, communicating only by memo. In 1941, the rights to Superman were purchased by Paramount, and Fleischer Studios was contracted to produce a series of short films based on the comic book hero. The studio was already in production on their second feature called Mr. Bug Goes to Town, so they demanded a budget of $100,000 per episode for Superman, which was 4 times what a single short episode of Popeye would cost.
Huh.
Paramount offered $50,000, which was double the money of their most popular and most expensive film series. So they said yes.
Wow.
Now overwhelmed with work and cash, the Fleischers had to train new animators for Superman. Joe Shuster, co-creator of The Man of Steel, who happened to be in Miami at the time, stepped into the studio for a few days rendering sketches and character illustrations for the animators to reference. Sorry, there's a damn fire by at the center of the earth. Doom, you really got to get these guys to not be putting out fires while we're doing this live show.
No, at least do it quietly. Damn robots. I'll get on them.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Bud Collyer, the voice of Superman on the radio, would step in to voice the character for the Fleischers. Several of the famous Superman tropes were made during the Fleischer series, such as Clark Kent using a phone booth to change into the Man of Steel, and Superman's ability to fly. Apparently, prior to the 1941 series, Action Comics had only featured Superman's ability to make giant leaps.
Yep.
The Fleischers felt this was silly, so they asked if he could fly instead, citing that it would be easier to animate. They agreed, and the power of flight was eventually canonized in the comics by 1943.
That's amazing, and
I didn't know that.
Really true. Yeah,
I did not know that.
That's true, and actually, kryptonite was invented on the radio show.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
They didn't have it in the comics until the radio show did it.
That's amazing, the evolution of this property. Max and Dave Fleischer went on to produce the greatest cinematic adaptation of Superman ever made, utilizing every skill and technique they had pioneered since the silent film era 20 years prior. The first Superman cartoon, The Mad Scientist, was nominated for an Academy Award. Unfortunately, the box office failure of Mr. Bug Goes to Town was the last animated feature from Paramount for several years. This put stress on an already taxed relationship between the brothers, and they eventually split. Dave went on to become the head of Screen Gems at Columbia, and Paramount forced Max out of Fleischer Studios and acquired the company, renaming it Famous Studios. The Fleischers produced the first 9 episodes of Superman, with the remaining 8 by Famous Studios through Paramount. Although the animation standards and styles were maintained, the latter episodes became propaganda-based, as the country, in just 3 months after The Mad Scientist was released, was hurled into the Second World War. The series, deemed too expensive to produce, was ended after just 17 short episodes, to be replaced by Famous Studios with Little Lulu. Yeah. My final note, the broadcast TV rights were reverted to National Comics in the 1950s. Black and white broadcasts of the series were very popular at the time. However, due to failure by National to renew the copyright, the series fell into public domain. This led to many VHS, Laserdisc, and DVD copies of the series being mass-produced from the 80s on to the turn of the millennium. In 2009, Warner Brothers, who possessed the original master negatives from the series and the sole rights to release them, produced a DVD set titled Max Fleischer's Superman, 1941 to 1942, and it was the first time they were publicly available in a remastered format. The series got its first high-definition release on Warner Media's DC Universe streaming service, which was a 1080p resolution from a 4K scan of the negatives, but was taken down in 2021, but then re-released on Blu-ray in 2023.
Oh, so these are available on Blu-ray.
They are. Apparently, they came out a couple years ago.
Shit,
but
I don't have it.
I had not seen these, Doom.
You hadn't seen them?
I had not seen these, no, and I was really happy to watch these in the higher resolution, because Robert was kind enough to there was a link on YouTube where they were posted for free, so I got to watch them all, and they were really, really special. There's so many iconic images of Superman that are depicted in these shorts, and they're perfect.
Mm-hmm.
They're these perfect little cool Superman stories. And although, we would go on to want more character development, these are great little vignettes of Superman's adventures.
I know, man. I'm so glad you got to see them.
It was so cool to watch these. And the animation style it looks like it's full 24 frames a second.
Mm-hmm.
The art is beautiful. Those guys, the Fleischer brothers, were really talented. It's no wonder that they were probably the actual only competition for Disney at the time. Real competition.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea that Max Fleischer had developed a lot of techniques like rotoscoping and really did a lot of pioneering of animation, right alongside Walt Disney, of course, but because I'm not going to take credit away from that guy. But I mean, he came up with a lot of really, truly wonderful, wonderful things from his work.
I'm really glad. I didn't know that you hadn't seen them. I assumed just, everyone had seen.
Well, I mean, somebody had mentioned to me, I might have seen him in, passing or something as some low resolution thing.
Yeah.
And I never really paid attention to him. But now that these new high definition versions are out, I sat and watched them. I really, really enjoyed them. Some of them are a little dated, with the propaganda stuff. But hey, it's war. So
I know, but boy, they've got those robots and mad scientist with a bird side. I mean,
oh man, when he's like punching the laser beam, that was really cool too. I was like, wow, he's beating the shit out of a fucking beam of energy.
Yeah,
wow, But it was really, really a nice treat to watch these, and thanks for suggesting them. Whoever came up with it, it's really, really good.
I'm delighted because the color, I mean, Batman done this way would have been phenomenal.
Oh man!
Oh gosh, yeah.
The animated series was close. It
was
that
very
Art Deco. And what's interesting is I noticed in this, there's a lot of these up angles that the characters that Superman's drawn from. When you see him come out of the Daily Planet, you're looking up and the buildings are sort of, at an angle, and you're already looking up at Clark Kent. A lot of animation is just straight on, they don't think about things like that. And that was very dominant in this show. Really the styles, the camera angles, well, I mean, you could choose to say camera angles, but really the angle of the way the shot or the image looks it was very carefully selected. The Art Deco is beautiful. It's really, really special. This is a very, very special series.
The lighting on the angles of
yes.
Clark Kent and Superman's face, and
I
Lois
know.
Lane is drop dead gorgeous.
Mhm.
She's hot. I love it when when the mad scientist discovers her in his lair, and he says, "What are you doing here?" And she says, "You'll read about it in tomorrow's paper."
Yeah, Lois is really brave.
Yeah.
She's super sassy.
Yeah, that's how she should be.
Yeah.
She should be. But I do think this is the purest and best depiction of Superman, kind of
Yeah.
like Batman the Animated Series is the best depiction of Batman.
Yeah.
Robert, what do you think of this?
Okay, so I first saw some of these cartoons on Turner Classic Movies. I think they showed some of these shorts, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is this?" And then when you mentioned it last week, and I looked it up and I found them on YouTube, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was blown away by watching these. So first off, folks, this is pure. These are from 1942 and 1943. This is not that many years after Superman was actually created. I think he was created in 1938, 1939. So we're on the cusp of creating this iconic character, first off. Second of all, the color, the art, the way that it's shot. We're talking about a 10-minute piece of film that is a work of art. It's like you're watching a comic book. It is so good. That's what's so great about it. And you get the feel for the characters and who they are and what they do. And they tell a story in 10 minutes. That's just riveting and fun. I love these. I mean, I went through about like 10 or 11 of them, and I couldn't stop watching them. I just was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And all 17 of them are for free on YouTube. Go find them, folks, because it's a joy to watch. It's something that'll bring a smile to your face. It brought a smile to my face. It reminded me of what I loved about the Christopher Reeve Supermans, but it also just reminded me of how much I loved comic books and comic book stories and over-the-top villains and over-the-top monsters and, just fun. It was fun, and that's what we're missing today. This is why we review these things and bring them to you, because this is the fun that we want back.
I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled you guys enjoyed this. I really am, because how are we going to pay tribute to Superman? James Gunn's Superman. It's like, well, we've already done Superman 1 and 2. Probably don't want to dip into 3. And so, well, let's do these cartoons. Sean, what do you think of this?
Man, I got to tell you. So when I was little, growing up in Los Angeles on KTLA Channel 5, every Sunday, I think it was between like 8 a.m. and 10 a.m., there was a Popeye show hosted by an artist named Tom Hatton. And he would get these things sent in by kids called squiggles. The kids would just draw a little squiggle, and he would turn it into a cartoon for them on the air and mail it back to them. And then you'd watch some Popeye shows. Watching these, I was 8 years old again on a Sunday morning, eating the coffee cake that my mom made for me, and just enjoying some cartoons. That's what these really reminded me of. Is from the same time period, the music, the hero. They're just 10-minute shorts. He's always saving the day, just like Popeye did, and it was just great. The animation on this, I was watching it, reminded me of Snow White with the rotoscoping and the effect and the attention to detail and the backgrounds in this thing. They're almost like watercolor paintings, and it was so well done. And just basic hero stuff. And the other thing I noticed in the ones that I watched, I see a lot of the stuff that was in these in the trailer that we saw for the upcoming movie. He's beating up a kaiju. He keeping a building from falling. We saw almost exact like that. Which now maybe I'm getting some hope for this movie coming up, because there's these same things are in there. And the other thing I noticed is they say in the shows he fights for truth and justice. They didn't throw in the American way thing. I don't know when that popped in. So if it is in fact missing from the movie, I'm a little less upset about it now, because if Gunn was trying to go back to these original shorts and stuff, maybe I can be a little bit better about watching it. But
I'm pretty sure that the American way was added when George Reeves played it in the black and white, live action Superman, right? I think that was his name, George Reeves, right?
Yeah,
George Reeves, yeah. But it was fabulous. I really enjoyed watching these. You guys check them out. There's playlists on YouTube. They're free.
It's fantastic. Jill, have you seen these before?
They're public domain too, right? Yeah. No, I never really watched all of these, so I want to thank you first, Doomcock, for the gift of being able to watch these just as homework, because I have a hard time finding time to watch new things, and these kind of shows get me to do that. And great job on the production history, Gary. It was so cool to learn about all of those things. I agree.
Thank you. It was tough. It was a tough one. Not a lot of information about these.
I agree about the paintings, just actually stunning. I would hang some of those backgrounds on my wall if I could. I didn't realize how revolutionary these were, not just for comics, but for animation. If any of you guys are having a bad day in the chat, or just throw one of these on. Maybe not the propaganda ones. I guess Hitler shows up, but they were doing. That's part of history too. It's historical context that you gotta take into account. And it's just an absolute. I didn't realize what an absolute troublemaker Lois Lane was in her thrill to get her story, and
she's
how
always a pain. But
but
she's hot,
Superman,
so it's okay.
She's hot. Superman was her ultimate enabler. And actually, though, they kind of made a great team, because when she got in trouble, that drew him to exactly where he needed to be to save the day.
Yeah.
And I fall in love with her more than before. She's a pilot, which is so cool, because that helps her keep up with the guy who could fly around without one. Although she's not always just there to be saved. There's that gorilla one that you're showing, where she saves a little girl from a giant ape, which actually gives her a good reason to actually have been in danger with the gorilla. And in another one, she's operating a giant magnet to keep the comet from crashing into the Earth, while Superman acts as a power conduit between two wires so that the thing works at all. And so this kind of I saw that recently. Wasn't that in Deadpool versus Wolverine? It's
That's right. Yeah.
And the comedy is that she's a great teammate with Superman, but a terrible one with Clark. She's always dumping him. She's always leaving him behind, driving off in a car without him. Oh, where's your press pass? Oh, I guess you must have lost it. She stole it.
Yeah, she's a bitch.
Well,
sometimes. And
he's flat, so he's under 6 foot.
Just how much I got into this, getting to her story. She's just got to get her story, and that's what makes these stories so much fun. And it's just a lovely cartoon. They're so well done. They're fast paced. By the time you're really getting into the story, it's over before. And that leaving people wanting more is really what you want to do when you're making a story. And these achieve that in spades.
That's very true. And if you haven't seen the long, like 2-reel Popeye cartoons, the Technicolor Popeye cartoons, Popeye meets Sinbad the Sailor, and Popeye meets Alibaba. Those are fantastic, and you really should check them out. And they did stuff like panning in the cartoons, and all sorts of multi-layered things that they were innovating back at the time. And also check out like the Betty Boop cartoon with Minnie the Moocher, because it's got a bunch of really cool shit, including this weird rotoscoped Cab Calloway dance during the Minnie the Moocher thing. That's absolutely kind of iconic and kind of haunting and insanely cool. It's a lot to love about these things.
Definitely. And they're really cool. Robots, giant apes, and dinosaurs. Well, going back to Superman, it just misguided scientists who think they're doing the right thing. And one of those things is they kill a lot of people. There's a lot of death. So there's not a lot of mollycoddling of, oh no, think of the children seeing all this mayhem on screen. No,
Yeah.
they let it happen.
Yeah. No blood, but you get the point. So, what the hell? Andy, what do you think of this stuff?
Am I the only one that's not struck by the stunning lack of diversity?
Oh, when there is, though, it's kind of weird.
Interesting fact, though, like Gary did not point out that Siegel and Schuster were both Jewish, and the characters originally was Superman, not Superman, Superman.
No, that's true. It's true.
It's Superman. Illustration and as an artist, I've always loved going back and looking at old animation and illustrations, and this is when things would come out and they didn't measure up to this standard that they had in the 40s. It always irritated me. Like when you look at the superhero cartoons that they had in the 60s, and they emulated this a lot. There was really a lot of effort to put in to make this kind of cohesive callback to these illustrations that they did. And now, of course, you see all this like Cal Arts crap that's out there, and it's like, what happened to people's taste? It was like the ability to tell a story in motion and with illustration, the lines, the colors, the choices that were made. It's an art form unto itself that like a lot of people can't even grasp in live action kind of things, let alone drawing something and making it move. It's astonishing to me. The illustration in this and the way the stories are told and how quickly they were done. When you watch them on screen and they're only like 10, 15 minutes long, but they tell a whole cohesive story. And now we get into this modern age where everything's got to be over like a 3-hour movie to tell less of a story. It's really astonishing. Anyone who hasn't seen these is really robbing themselves because, especially now in this age of the defunct superhero movie that used to be so great, if you look at these and you watch this, it was truly a magical time. Like I remember growing up, my parents were born in the 20s and 30s, so they grew up on radio. So they would hear these serials on the radio, and then every once in a while you would get to see these things on the screen in the movies when you would have like the little shorts. And it was so, back then it was so amazing. It was so like the technology that we're so used to today, they didn't have even an inkling of that. Like you had to go to a theater to see anything like this. And the groundbreaking effort that they went to make sure that this came out so well is breathtaking. It's truly a classic, and I wish that modern illustration would take some notes on this and go back into this kind of storytelling and art style, because I've just never really been a fan of like these non-realistic looking characters. Like, I mean, as much as I enjoy like Batman the Animated Series, I have to think that with this style of art, man, could that really have been something even more special? But yeah, this is a great example of modern storytelling or early storytelling and artistry. The voice work, you can tell like the character, the actors that are doing the voice work, they're really getting into the characters as they do these things. It's like it's not just, even the bad guys, like as limited time screen time as these bad guys have, they really convey that like if only I had a mustache to twirl kind of thing. It's real villainy in there, and it's a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it a lot. I first saw these back. I don't even remember when I first saw these. There was a television show that was talking about these things back in probably the early 90s. and I bought a VHS of these things at some point, and I don't know where I got it, because I would go down to Atlantic City, and like they would have these conventions where people would have questionable VHS tapes out there, and some of them you didn't want to know where they came from. But every once in a while, you would. That's where I got my Roger Corman Fantastic Four, and that Captain America with the Italian Red Skull. But I found this along with it, and I watched this thing over and over again. So it was pretty cool. And I don't know who produced it, if somebody just like taped it off of something, but it was really cool for me as an artist to watch these things. So I highly recommend, if you in modern age of comic books, if you want to see something cool, check this out.
I agree. Yeah, I'm really glad you guys enjoy it as much as I do, because I think this thing, we may never see something like this again. Although, it just kills me that, the day the Earth blew up, that Looney Tunes movie was full animation, hand drawn, full animation, and just got ignored. It still rots my ass to this day. But yeah, I think obviously, well, I know that the Superman cartoons were an inspiration for Batman the Animated Series. You can see it like in the very opening, with the way that the buildings are, and the way he moves and everything. It's just I wish they'd made stuff like this again. But well, at least we have it, folks. At least we have it. Check them out if you haven't seen them. They are fantastic. And now let's go ahead and get to the last of these super chats here. Super chats, mofo. And actually, before I get to the super chats, we should just erase this issue about Spaceballs 2.
Search for more money.
Search for more money. Is this a good idea or a bad idea? Because God Knows History of the World Part 2, not such a good idea. Let's just go right around the table and just get y'all's opinion on this real quick. Gary, good news or bad news?
Well, I want it to be good. We got Bill Pullman back. We got Mel Brooks back. We got Bill Pullman's son, I guess, is in it. I guess he's going to play Lone Star's son. I don't know. How are we going to handle the loss of John Candy?
Yeah.
We got Rick Moranis back.
That's amazing, actually, because he's kind of semi-retired.
Oh, yeah, it is amazing. I really wish he would come back for a Ghostbusters movie, but apparently, Mel's giving him more money to be Dark Helmet again. So, yeah, I hope, I
don't know. I got a bad feeling about it. Rob, what do you think?
This probably would have been good about 20 years ago, right after the prequels, to do that. But I think we're past our time for it. I'm not hopeful at all about it. I mean, I want it to be good. I love the fact that Rick Moranis is coming out, but yeah, Gary's right. John Candy's gone. I don't know what kind of story you're going to tell. I mean, the best thing they could do is probably make fun of Star Wars and other sequel movies. That's the best we can hope for.
If they go there. Which are they gonna? I mean, it's Fox, right? So it's owned by Disney.
Yeah.
I don't think they have the balls to do it, but I mean, my God, wouldn't it be great if, like, to explain the different casts, it starts out with a girl that can do anything, and
yeah, I mean,
the fucking Spaceballs all have ears on their fucking balls.
Well, I mean, this could be Mel Brooks' last movie ever. I mean, come on, Mel, you gotta go out on a bang.
I know, man.
And they could take Dark Helmet's helmet away and stick this candy ass Kylo Ren shit on his head.
Yeah,
which he smashes to pieces out of disgust.
Or Doomcock, they're selling how they break the third wall and the fourth wall in Spaceballs. They're selling it to Disney.
Oh my God.
And they're trying all this marketing stuff to be able to sell it to Disney.
Peter Dinklage is Dark Helmet Jr.
Yeah.
He's got an even bigger helmet than his dad. Bumping into shit.
It's just a helmet with feet. Just a helmet with feet. Just walking, you know, that's all there is, man. That's all
Mel,
there
call us.
is, you know? It looks
His
like Fred
Schwartz has been
Flintstone in
removed.
the fucking car, you know?
Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus. Sean, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think Mel Brooks needs to call us for sure.
Yeah.
Well, there are a couple thoughts. When I first heard that this was coming out, I was like, "Oh, this is cool. Bill Pullman's in it. He wouldn't do a bad sequel." And then I remember Independence Day 2. And then I figured, hey, Mel Brooks is doing it again. He wouldn't make a bad sequel, and we had History of the World Part 2. So, I don't know. The little trailer thing that we saw with the scroll up, they set it up right. Let's see where it goes. You know,
Pretty funny, yeah.
We'll wait and see.
Except they said that there's only one Spaceballs, but they forgot there's a cartoon.
Well,
'Cause they were
still only
talking
one
about all-
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of material for them to grab from. Let's do it. Let's see it.
Yeah. What do you think, Jill? Any opinion?
Yeah, I think it has some merit, but as Sean pointed out, History of the World Part 2 didn't turn out too well. And as much as I want Mel Brooks to live until he's 137, he's also getting up there a bit. Hopefully he can still be on the ball creating the cool stuff he used to do. That's obviously we all want good stuff. And I haven't seen anything to tell me it's going to be terrible yet. So I can't say that. But like sequels are always dangerous, even more so today when lots of comedy is being nerfed because they're afraid to offend people who are offended on the behalf of other people who never asked them to defend them. And so all this white knighting, it just needs to stop. So hopefully if that happens, they're allowed to make the jokes they want. Maybe it could be good.
Yep. Well, I don't know. I would like it if they like took shit, you know, and you know, like that Maz Cananda, right? Like, you know, yogurt could be like, you know, like now in drag, you know, it's like, I'm not yogurt anymore. I'm Maz Cananda, you know, it's the same fucking thing without the ears and, you know, not green. You know, it's beach ball 8, you know, just a fucking beach ball with a eye drawn on it, you know, bounces around and shit. It could be, there's a lot of humor there, but I bet he won't go there.
That's a good point. Star Wars is already a parody, so.
Yeah. What do you think, Andy?
Josh Gad is involved, which reminds me of my last colonoscopy. So that's going to be iffy. There's great possibility here, potential. It depends whether or not they can get past the Disney censors. I mean, yeah, we don't have Joan Rivers anymore, but I mean, there's a perfect opportunity for her robot to change genders and make a modern times, because this is what Mel Brooks did. He made jokes about like modern times, and this is like modern times that we're dealing with, and the pandering to all the different groups. This would be a perfect opportunity for it. Like, because I mean, what else has said this more than Star Wars, other than like, let's. I mean, in all fairness, they didn't make Rey gay. Like, they put a chick in it, but they didn't make her gay.
That's
they
true.
made it fall for Kylo. Yeah, well, that's true. And we'll see what happens. Now that would be really funny if like they if you really like, because somehow yogurt returned or something like that. That would be
yeah.
I don't have high expectations for this. I think Mel lost a lot of his magic when a lot of his co-creators passed on. And I don't know that he's got the chops or the stomach to really give it to them where they need to hear it. And ironically, in History of the World Part 1, he's basically kind of playing like the court jester, where they're the ones that can insult the king, and the king really needs to be insulted now.
Yeah, that would be very good.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and get to those rest of those super chats here. Jack White with another a $10 super chat, and then a $5 super chat. and another $5 super chat. So Jack White is a producer tonight on this Pop Culture Breakdown, and $10 super chat and 2 5s. Let's read them together. Jack White continues. He's got banished from the Heroes Party. I decided to live a quiet life in the countryside. Star Blazers, the original and the reboot. The Legend of the Galactic Heroes, the original and the reboot. And Gintama is suggested as well. And then he says to Andy Masterson, Andy, modern day London is majority minority thanks to mass immigration. There is a reason John Cleese said London is no longer an English city. Oh, geez. That's fucked up. And Jack White also points out Larry Fink was the guy who came up with ESG and pushed to have it tied to loans. He needs to be fired. Well, now that the Supreme Court has ruled that all this DEI bullshit is unconstitutional, maybe that's kind of the last leg of the plank that was propping them up. I mean, it may drive it back underground at least. And maybe make it unfashionable at best. Casey's Creepy Creations with a $10 super chat. Hail Casey's Creepy Creations. Casey Osowski, ladies and gentlemen. He says, please pray for our brother Thetazord. He just called and told me he was going to the hospital for a heart problem. Oh, geez. Thetazord is a good guy, folks, and please do keep him in your prayers. Send him a message of encouragement on X. He's a good friend of the channels, and he definitely is a loved individual, and we certainly hope that it's not serious. Hopefully it will sort itself out, and he'll get fixed up and back to normal. Hail to you.
I don't mean to interrupt, but he did recently change his name to Theta of the Grid. If you are looking for him, that's how to find him.
Okay, Theta of the Grid. Casey said Thetazord. Theta of the Grid, that is correct. That's actually, I knew that, but I forgot it in the midst of all this. And everybody, thanks for putting a TZ in the chat to express solidarity for him. Yeah. God bless you, Theta of the Grid, and hail to Casey's Creepy Creations.
Yeah, DC,
Walter. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Just to let everyone know, I got a text from him after that chat, and he's just doing things for precautionary. He's doing okay. It's not super serious, and he's going to keep me appraised. But he's okay.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andy. Appreciate that. Sean, excuse me. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that, brother. Walter Tomaszewski with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Walter. He says, DC, Philip's life of crime is over. He's back to sneaking daddy snacks. One of his hench mice squeaked on him. Hail to you, Walter Tomaszewski. And hail to Philip the cat hustler. He's out there hustling up grub anywhere he can get it. Thank you, Walter. Daniel Stenistam has been a channel member of mine for 3 months at the Dumentite level. Hail to you, Daniel. He says, do zombies really love brains, or are they just saying that to seem smart? That's a cerebral question. Hail to you, Daniel. I like that. Well, as we know from Pop Culture Breakdown's earlier review of Return of the Living Dead, that movie is the one that invented the whole zombies eating brains thing. It was not a zombie trope until after Return of the Living Dead. And allegedly, they said it was to stop the pain of being undead briefly. But maybe they really do just want to get into a nice Ivy League school eventually. Hail to you, Daniel Stenistam. Michael Whitehead with a £5 super chat. Hail to you, Michael. He says, if you want to know the root of woke and cancel culture, look up Alice Bailey. Alice Bailey. I will look that up. I'm writing it up here. Alice Bailey. All right. I will take a look at that. I am interested in the topic, obviously. Hail to you, Michael Whitehead, and thank you, sir, for that. I appreciate it. City Zen 1999. City Zen partying like it's 1999 with a $2 super chat. Thank you, sir. He says, Doomcock, hope you're having a great day. God bless you. Hail to you, City Zen 1999. I am having a pretty good day now. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate that. And Jacob Holler, been an arch villain of mine for 51 months and sent me a super sticker of the Invisible Man. Hail to you, Jacob Holler. I appreciate that. And Jacob Holler, with a $9.99 super chat, says support. Just supporting the channel. Just saying we like what you do. Thank you. Putting a little tip in the tip jar there. Actually, a large tip in the tip jar. Thank you, Jacob Holler, and hail to you, sir. I salute you, and I'm grateful. Kurt James with a $9.99 super chat. Hail to you, Kurt James. He says, Andy's essays are masterful. But then he says, with a $9.99 super chat follow-up, he says, "Dope. And Gary Ambrosia's essays aren't too shabby either." Confused and botched his name. Hail DVD wrenches, Gary, Andy, and friends. Hail to you, Kurt James. We knew what you meant, man, but we appreciate the support. And I also appreciate you sending me that Star Trek book, brother. Really, really appreciate it. It's very beautiful. Wonderful posters to take a look at. Thank you, Kurt James. And let's see. SHS Rebels 08 with a $3.99 super sticker of a pair raising a glass, giving a toast. Hail to you, SHS Rebels 08. I salute you right back, my friend, and I will toast you later on. Hail to you, SHS Rebels 08. Jack White, producer on today's Pop Culture Breakdown, says with a $10 super chat, some series recommendations with a good amount of bounce. And by bounce, he means breastises bouncing around happily, which is something that anime does very, very well. He says High School DxD, To Love Rue, Data Live, Queen's Blade, World's End Harem, Trinity 7, The Hidden Dungeon only I can enter. Well, if there's boobs bouncing in that dungeon, I would be the only one that I would want to enter as well. Hail to you, Jack White. Nicely put, my friend. Blaze Heart Panther with a $10 super chat. Hail to you, Blaze Heart Panther. He says the mad scientist in the first short was voiced by Jack Mercer, Popeye's most popular voice actor. So you're saying that the mad scientist was Popeye?
Yes.
Wow.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's fucking awesome. I didn't recognize him at all. So he doesn't actually talk that way, huh? Popeye's so iconic that it's like, I can't imagine just the guy just talking, you know? Jeez. That is so cool. The mad scientist in the first short was Popeye.
Well, with the pet vulture.
Yeah, with the pet vulture. It's so damn cool. Jackson Cagle with a $2 super chat says, hail Rick Moranis. Hail to Rick Moranis. Hail to Dark Helmet. And of course, Ghostbusters, Rick Moranis. Old Man Bird with a $4.99 super chat. Hail to you, Old Man Bird. He says, there's been a tremor in the Schwartz. Have you felt it? I think I always feel a tremor in my Schwartz, but I look at a lot of hot chicks and stuff. So there you go. Hail to Old Man Bird. We appreciate that, sir. Jack White is shit. He's almost gunning to be an executive producer here tonight with a $20 super chat and two more $5 super chats. Jack, sir, I salute you. I salute you too, Jack White, even though you give me shit. Hail to you, Jack White. He says, another couple of series recommendations. I'm getting married to a girl I hate in my class, which seems improbable. Why does nobody remember me in this world? Can you keep a secret? The Cafe Terrace and its goddesses, Fairy Tale, Rave Master, and Gantz. He says another upcoming game to look forward to, Trails in the Sky remake. You know, I really wish that they would come out with a like PS4 remake of all the Fallout games, you know, maybe bundle them together. That would be so cool to be able to play it on PS4 or PS5. A lot of the best ones are on PS3 at this point. It's too hard to hook up all these different systems, but I would really like that. That would be super cool. But it's nice to know that Trails in the Sky is also getting a remake. Jack White also says, with a $5 super chat, never really watched Spaceballs. But I agree, if they want to do it right, they have to make fun of the current Star Wars movies and shows. Just seems like it's not going to be possible. I just don't think they'll go there. And I think that's sad because, oh my God, if Mel Brooks could make a Spaceballs 2 making fun of the sequel trilogy and all the bullshit that Star Wars has done, that could be a fucking classic. That could be a masterpiece. That would be maybe the way that Mel could go out with a huge win. But sadly, I bet that's not even going to happen. I bet he's not even aware of the horrors that have been done to Star Wars. I don't think he's necessarily a Star Wars fan. I think he just liked making fun of it, Maybe he'd surprise me. That would be so cool if he did. SFX F314 Sabertooth Raptor with a $10 super chat hailed my friend. He says, sadly, without John Candy and others, it won't be good. Not with current wacky world. The best time to have done it in the 90 to the 2000s. Not Top Gun Mav. Not many can do it. Crew that made original, not there. I think that's kind of how I feel about it, dude. Unless they took the bold step of really tackling the bullshit of the sequel trilogy. What is the reason for this being other than a cash grab, which is a good enough reason for me, but it may not translate well in terms of the material. And Jack White with a $20 super chat. Hail to you, Jack White. He says, to make fun of modern woke times, one of the things that needs to be made fun of is where these so-called progressive ideas and theories originate from. So you'd have to make jokes about Simone de Beauvoir and John Money. Hey, dude, exactly. If they could do that, Jack White, that could be absolutely fucking fantastic. I would really, really love to see that. Let's see. Robert Moschel with a $2 super chat. Hail to you, Robert. Says, missed last week. Is there any way to see it? Oh yeah, man. I need to just put that back. I will do that, Robert, and I'll post a link over to that as well. Jackson Cagle with a $5 super chat. He says, second that. Hail to you, Jackson Cagle. We'll see what we can do, brother. City Zen 1999 with a $2 super chat. Hail City Zen. Says, Doomcock, all-time favorite Star Trek episode. Too hard to say, man. Too hard to say. I mean, there's no one that I could pick. It would be impossible. City on the Edge of Forever, Where No Man Has Gone Before, Corbomite Maneuver, Balance of Terror, Mirror Mirror, the Doomsday Machine, Amok Time. It's just too many great ones. City Zen 1999, but there's a handful of them that come to mind right away. Arena is very good. Journey to Babel, fantastic. Ultimate Computer, The Changeling. It just goes on and on and on, impossible question. Sorry, man. That's the best that I can do. Jack White is an executive producer here on Pop Culture Breakdown. Hail to you, Jack White. Jack White says, it's been announced that Fallout 3 is getting the Oblivion treatment. Hopefully, we will get a full remake of the original 2 Fallout games and the original 2 Elder Scrolls games. Also, I hope they will increase the level cap in Fallout 3. Dude, that would be great news, And I think it's great for game companies because shit, you don't have to redesign the game. You don't have to change the dynamics of it or anything. Just update the artwork, make it play on the PS4 or the PS5 and rake in the fucking money. I mean, there is no downside to that. You know what I'm saying? So that's damn good news, Jack White. I appreciate you. Keep me up to date on that if you would, because I'd love to get those. All right. Well, folks, we have come to the end of the show, it appears. Let's go ahead and let everyone plug whatever they would like to plug. Gary Ambrosia, hail to you. Go ahead and plug away or say whatever you'd like to say.
Well, I just want to say hail to the chat and the wrenches. We love you guys. We know that you have a choice where you hang out every Wednesday night, and you choose to do it with us because you are just as crazy as we are, and we love you very much. So we will see you next week. Stay angry, kids.
Thank you very much, Gary Ambrosia. And it's Doug 35 is being a smartass in the chat. He says Spock's brain was good. And then he says, and the children shall lead. Turnabout intruders are the two I wouldn't miss. So, haha, smart Alec. Rob Wright, go ahead and plug away.
Got my own channel, Rob Wright's Jack's Pop Culture, and I think either this weekend or next, I'm going to do a feature on some of the Medal of Honor winners that I saw their gravesites over in Europe, and we're going to talk a little bit about their stories. And then coming up in a couple of weeks, we're going to do a wrap up of Band of Brothers. I'm going to show you some of the sites that I went to that involved Band of Brothers, and then we'll start the Pacific the week after that. And the cool thing about the Pacific is the tour director guide that I went on was a producer on the Pacific. He helped write and produce that show, and he said he could possibly be on one of the shows to talk about it. So that's coming up on my channel. So it should be a lot of fun. A lot of World War II stuff if you like World War II.
Fantastic. Awesome. Good catch there, dude. Sean, go ahead and plug away.
Well, today, guys, I'd like to plug about taking care of yourself because, as you can see here, I've got this little thing, and I made the joke earlier, but in all seriousness, it was the other day. I was laughing at something. I was laughing very hard, and I fainted. I lost all oxygen in my brain. I fainted and fell out of my chair and scraped my face on my desk, woke up on the floor. I'm taking this to heart, taking care of my health, my body. I'm in detoxing my, flushing everything out, full body detox, good health, a lot of exercise. So I just want to say to everyone out there, listen to your bodies, take care of yourselves. We're only here once, and let's make it last. So, that's my plug for tonight.
I think it's a good one. Hail to you, Sean. I'm glad that you're okay, brother.
Yes.
And anti-derivative Jill, please go ahead and plug away.
I'm so glad you're okay too, Sean.
Thank you.
And I hope things get better. Gosh. Yeah. And so I do have a channel, Anti-Derivative Jill, if anybody wants to come and hang out with me and talk about fun stuff from the past, and hopefully maybe find a few good things in the present too, if we're lucky. And Twilight, I talk about Twilight Zones on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Central also on Friday. But that's more of a wild card. We do movies and stuff and cartoons and things I like. And then Saturdays, sometimes I play a game or we have a fun discussion about random stuff. And I think that fun discussion about random stuff will be this Saturday. I had a super chat is making me pink on the other screen. And so, yeah, so we're going to have a good time. And that's basically, yeah. That's and of course I have a great time here. Thank you so much for inviting me and having me watch Superman. That was a treat. That was a treasure. That's something that's very meaningful.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Jill. It's great to have you here. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
And Andy Masterson, please go ahead and plug away, sir.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming and joining us tonight. And also remember, on this date in 1921, famous Uruguayan writer Eduardo Acevedo Diaz passed away at the age of 70. I have no idea what he wrote, but he died today.
Well, okay. All right. Okay. And this has been Non Sequitur Obituary Theater, courtesy of Andrew Masterson. I want to play that. Rather than have him in a fucking smoking jacket and a fucking pipe. Thanks, Andy. And Jack White is looking to be a super executive producer here tonight, dude. This is pretty amazing. Jack White with a $10 super chat and then another $50 super chat. He isn't a super executive producer like 2 times over. It's amazing. Jack White says with a $10 super chat, Trails in the Sky is a full 3D remake of a 2D game. That's what I hope will happen with the original 2 Fallout games and the original 2 Elder Scrolls games. God, I hope so. That would be so damn cool. It would be so damn cool. Jack White with a $50 super chat. Again, thank you, Jack. He says, another upcoming game to look forward to is Lost Soul Aside. And the premise of I'm getting married to a girl in my class I hate is the main characters, Saito and Akane. They're in the same class and they're always getting into fights with one another. And then with a $20 super chat, he continues, they get invited to have lunch or dinner with their prospective grandparents, Saigon with his grandfather, Akane with her grandmother, and they find out they will be eating together, the 4 of them. Oh, geez. Well, sounds like a kind of a Japanese anime rom-com, Jack White. Hail to you, sir. I appreciate that recommendation. And then he says with a $5 super chat, and their prospective grandparents tell them to get married and force them into it. I guess that kind of thing can happen in Japan. I don't think it could go over very well here. But hail to Japan. Manga and anime. It's a different world, different standards, and that's why it's so much fun to watch, because, you know, it's hard to say that anime and manga are predictable in the same way that Western entertainment is. And that's true too often in the kind of remakes and reboots and patented bullshit that we get shoveled into our troughs here in the US. All right, folks. Well, from the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock and my panel of pop culture pundits and all of my wonderful wrenches out there, and Jack White, executive super producer tonight, bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. See you next Wednesday, hopefully, knock wood, and hopefully see you on Friday as well for Friday Night Frolics. And Jack White says with a $2 super chat, it is a rom-com. Yes. Very, very cool. Thank you. And Brian Monk says, to me, Doomcock's voice sounds a lot like Dr. Demento, the radio host. Thank you. That's an honor. Dr. Demento is one of my favorite things of all time. We'll see you later, folks. See you next Wednesday. God bless you all. And we will talk to you soon. Good night, everybody. Hail to you all.